Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Monoxide Podcast. I'm your host, Harris, a.k.a. Monoxide, man of many automotive aspirations, and I'm here with my finally Mustang driving co-host. It's warm enough to bring the Mustang out.
Well, midday, right? I figured traffic wouldn't be nearly as bad. Oh, it was still not that great, but yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't bring the town car. So many of our listeners know that he bought a town car for like $2,000. He's like, I'm going to play bumper cars in traffic.
Yeah. I got tired of almost getting merged into every time I drove here.
Nice having a car not to care about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So go ahead, bounce it off my Panther platform town car. We'll see how that works out for you.
I will win.
Yeah. These cars invented the pit maneuver, so good luck.
Ooh, a little weird cough there. But anyways, today we are going beyond the meat with Jeff Storms. I've known you for years. You're actually one of the OG podcast guests back when I did the Whiplash podcast. However, I want to say 2 years ago now.
Yeah, something like that.
But nonetheless, a lot of people know you for your various cars and clubs that you've run over the years. So, you know, big Beamer guy, but of course the Noble that we picked up, the Lamborghini killer that we picked up a few years ago. One of the best food trips I've had in my life. So we'll kind of just start from there. So just do a quick introduction of yourself, a little bit about your club, your cars, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Well, as you said, my name's Jeff Storms. I'm a full-time real estate agent, part-time powerlifter trainer at Crunch Fitness in Maple Grove. I kind of picked up that recently just because it's something to keep me busy in slower months and whatnot. Plus, it also allows me the chance to meet more people for real estate. But about the car stuff, I've been a car enthusiast for a long time. As you know, big Beamer guy. Me and a couple folks started doing the MN BMW stuff. That's the group, the first group that I was kind of really a part of before. Well, I should stop there and say MNSC was the first group, and I don't know if that's ever been brought up on this podcast. The
what was MNSC?
Minnesota Sport Compacts. That was a forum.
Okay.
That was from back in the day, and that's when forums were big. That was a big local group, and I guarantee a lot of your listeners, especially the folks around my age, a little bit younger, might remember them. Mm-hmm. But that was the first group that I was really a part of, and then it kind of bowled over into MN BMW, which was actually a forum ran by Kevin Tan.
That's the Imola guy, right?
It's Imola, yeah. He started that as a forum, and then a couple of us, mainly Triet, Tint Pros over there. Mm-hmm. Triet and I started the Facebook group MN BMW, and it just kind of like blew up. I mean, it snowballed. We didn't think it was going to be anything, and it blew up. Shit, this was 2013, I think, is when the group was created.
Okay.
And it was great at the time. This was before I actually got into real estate, so I had different time and availability and whatnot.
Was that when you were an engineer?
Engineering, yeah. So I was doing a lot of travel, but I was working with various different things. So I was in and out, but I also had a lot of free time and younger and whatnot. So, but I always had a 1 Series, and I was organizing events and stuff like that with local BMW groups. The group's still around. We don't do as much anymore. Other groups pop up. I've seen hundreds of groups pop up.
Come and go.
Yeah, the only other group that I've seen that really has stood the test of time for the last 10 years is Minnesota Nissan Infinity. I'm sure you know MN and I. Yeah, they've been around about the same amount of time. A lot of good folks over there. But they still do a little bit more, I think, than we do. I'm trying to kind of get things going a little bit more this year with the BMW group.
I think you should have some success with that. The car community, especially locally, it's got some steam. Like a steam that I've never seen before. It's kind of interesting. I'm really excited for what the community's doing on the local front, at least.
Yeah. I mean, it was nothing a long time ago. We had some little events. I mean, I remember, what was it, Euro something, Euro Works or something like that. And there was a couple other groups that were doing some cool events and whatnot. But it was pretty quiet, 10, 15 years ago. It really, I mean, what are the Porkies, those events, the night stuff, those were always kind of around. But yeah, in the last, I would say 8 years specifically, a lot of these groups popped up. You started seeing Minnesota, exotics and supercars, which is kind of what I started gravitating into once I started getting, a little bit, smarter or whatever with my money.
Wiser kind of. You kind of grow into it, right? Like everybody starts with a Volkswagen for whatever reason, and then you work your way up, as you get more access to funds the older you get. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Like that's completely true. I mean, my first, I guess my first exotic would be, I wouldn't even consider it exotic. People would scold me for saying exotic, my Jaguar. That was really my first real exotic.
That was a rare car, too.
It was rare. Yeah, I wouldn't call it necessarily exotic. I mean, Jag makes some cool cars, the XK and, the F-Type. They're not exotic, but they did fit the bill for being rare and being in the group. But I was networking with those guys a long time ago when the group was actually doing stuff. Now they kind of do some little events here and there. They do, was it Supercar Saturday or something like that. I met a lot of really good folks there. And then eventually, obviously, as we got the Noble.
Which we'll go into that story as well, for sure.
Yep.
At one point, you were really trying to get me to buy a BMW.
Sure.
The 1 Series.
Yeah.
What is the cult following behind the 1 Series?
Well, it's such an oddball car. When it first came out, a lot of people were skeptical about it. That N54, N55 engine, it's a easily tunable engine, especially back in the day. You slap a tune on it and downpipes, and you're damn near 400 of the wheels. And back, when they first came out, that was quick, relatively quick, right?
Even by today's standards, in a car that light, that is ridiculously quick.
Yeah.
Because what do they weigh?
They're actually pigs. I mean, they're like 3,400 pounds. And you wouldn't think that they would weigh that much. You'd think they'd be closer to like 3 or so, But they're bulbous and, it's the newer stuff. They just pack a bunch of crap in there.
Well, still 600 pounds lighter than today's Beamers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know what the 2 Series weighs, but I definitely think it's
I think it was like 38, the new M2,
lighter.
I want to say. What about so I really should get like Brian on or somebody next door to talk a little bit more about Beamer motors, but the N54, I've heard mixed reviews about that. What have you kind of learned over the years?
I've been an owner of the N54 for 12 years now.
Okay.
A little bit more than that, yeah. Have had a couple. I've had some good experiences, some bad experiences. The bad experience that I've had is, I popped an engine, but I was an idiot. I was using the JB4, slapping, whatever. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Just a JB4 off-the-shelf tune with fully 85 and stuff like that, and popped a ringland and had to swap a new engine in, and I didn't know what I was doing. So eventually, I got custom tunes and talked to Brian. MN BMW is how I met Brian, and he's been in the community for a long time. He's kind of a BMW N54 whisperer, if you will.
Thousands and thousands of cars run his tunes.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I mean, he's nationally known. There's a couple other guys that are local too that, and nationally, Wedge Performance is another one that I've heard a lot about. I've spoken with him on the forums and Facebook and whatnot. But other than that, I think there's another guy, Tuned by Sean, I think, is another one that I've been hearing about.
I've gotten to know him recently too.
Sounds like Brian's on a dyno right now.
Yep, so today they are working on a local GTR. I'm not sure what level of tune. I'd be surprised if it was more than stage 2, but I might be wrong. I don't think it's a full build. It might just be like a...
I talked to him downstairs. It's exhaust, original turbo still, but just all of your normal like bolt-ons. Yeah. Nothing crazy.
Still, I mean, those cars are wonderful too. I mean, it's funny when you get into a GTR. I drove Tony Oscui, who's my broker. I drove his GTR a number of years ago on the track, and it was cool. But I mean, you get inside of it, it does not feel nearly as big as it looks, and it still feels like a Nissan. They're sweet cars. They're easy to drive. They're fun. They're easy to mod. But you need to start putting in a shit ton of money into them eventually, to really get that next level power. Just like with any car, really. But
so we talked about this with Caleb last episode, where at a certain point, everything kind of starts to cost the same, like 1,500 plus horsepower, but that's a different ball game altogether. Yeah. But like, when you're looking at that, like, full bolt-on category, it's kind of tit for tat. Like, oh, this car's a better bang for buck at 800 horsepower. 100%. This one's better at 1,000. So I don't know, but the GTR has also stood the test of time. I mean, it's a, 15, 16-year-old platform now. It's got a driver's license now, so it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, going back to your question, about, how you said about the 1 Series and why I was kind of driving you towards that, based off of our conversations that we had about, what you're kind of looking for and stuff like that. The 1 Series did fit that bill. Mm-hmm. You were looking for, you didn't want a big car. You were looking for something that was easily modifiable, that was relatively affordable and stuff like that. The 1 Series, it's under 20 grand all day long. You can get a manual transmission. You do a tune, downpipe, intercooler, a bigger clutch. You can get some hybrid turbos on there. I mean, you're at 600-700 of the wheels eventually. Port injection you need. But it's easy to make a lot of power in those cars for relatively affordable. Now you see a whole bunch of them running around with single turbos and stuff like that. The kits have become so much cheaper. But I remember when 450 the wheels on those cars was like, holy crap, like this is big, Well,
to put it in perspective, right? At 3,300 pounds, making 450 wheel, like you're smoking a lot of cars.
90% of the cars on the road. I mean, I've Camaros, older Corvettes, and
Hellcats even.
Hellcats. I mean, I've surprised a lot of those guys on the road and on the freeway. So not like I do anything illegal, right? But I've surprised quite a few of them on the roads. They pull up and they see some hairdresser looking car. That's what people call it, hairdresser car. Some big old Bowser looking dude in the thing, and then they try to race. And it's just like, nope. I remember one time specifically, I got a buddy, Brad Schmidt. He was on Crown with me a number of years ago. He had a McLaren on Crown, but he and I has other friends and that are like-minded and whatnot, same circle. And he was driving his Camaro, and we were in Brooklyn Park or whatever. And I specifically remember this. And I look over and I see this white Camaro, and he's kind of he sees me. He sees my lowered wheels and stuff like that, and he tries to get on me. Like we turn and we go, and I just bust lengths on him. And this is when I was maybe 450 at the wheels. I mean, I didn't have my hybrid turbos or anything like that, not running E85, and just bus lengths. Within 20-30 minutes, he texts me, and I never met the guy. He texts me on Facebook, and he's like, dude, what the hell is that thing? I asked him what the hell it was. It's a Camaro Z28, not the current gen, but whatever. I don't know too much about the generations.
Same as Paul Rode's, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, he's got like the supercharged version, doesn't he?
No, his is all naturally aspirated 427.
Okay, I think he's probably making a little bit more power.
Yeah, it's cammed and all that stuff. Yeah.
So same gen-ish as his, but just the regular, SS, whatever. Yeah. I don't even think Brad had it modified, but eventually he had to ditch that and get a McLaren, and then Bob's your uncle there. So
got to keep up with the Beamer.
Yeah, he's like, damn it, this little BMW just smoked me. Got to get something else. So he did.
So I've heard of this N54, and I know zero about BMWs. So now they're kind of into the B58 or S58 or
Yep.
Okay, so would this be their flagship before this kind of newer motor that they're working with, or?
Yeah. I mean, they didn't really do much with the motor, like the B and the S. They didn't really do much. They had, at the time of the 1M, not the M1, but the 1M, the M version of the 135.
Sean's car.
Yep.
Yeah, Sean's car. Yep. Same engine. They do maybe a little bit of different tuning, and I mean, the car itself is different suspension, wide body, blah blah blah. But the N54 at the time was the M car engine until the E90 M3 came out, and then they did that weird V8, which is a lovely engine, naturally aspirated. You couldn't really modify it, but it's a high-strung, high-revving V8. You've probably driven some of those cars. They're wonderful engines, but they're just not modifiable nearly as like the N54 is. But yeah, then they got out of that naturally aspirated V8, and then moved into the continued on with the turbo vehicles, and then they just do different tuning and certain internals and stuff like that for the non-M version or the S.
Okay.
The S models like the S58. Those engines are stout. They are stout.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, an M2 is kind of the progression. If I was going to get rid of my 1 Series, that'd be what I'm looking at. But I'm looking at other investments right now. Currently, I think it's a smarter idea.
I hate that internal struggle.
Yeah, well, I mean, I already got a couple decent cars. You know, you get the AMG, the little GLA. You know.
Yeah, I forgot you had that little thing.
Yeah, that thing's awesome, man. I love that thing. I mean, I have a love-hating relationship with that thing. You know, it's my first Mercedes that I've owned. It's a baby Mercedes. You know, I say AMG, and people are like, "What kind of AMG you got?" I'm like, "It's a GLA 45." Little 4-cylinder, you know, it's a little fart box thing. It's hilarious.
It's a little bit of a fart box. Like, you think the Volkswagens are bad?
Yeah, well, this thing farts and pops all over the place. It's fun. You know, my wife drives it mainly, and she had a Ford Escape, but we're not going to talk about that. She ended up totaling it, and then now she drives her GLA. And it's funny, you know, she'll be driving like this, and people will, you know, come up next to her and try to race her or honk at her, and my friends are like, "Yeah, your wife didn't even look over." And but she's a little Asian lady, just going me, prop me, prop me. But hearing this thing is it's pretty cool. I really like that car.
It's a fun car. I think. What would you say? It makes like 400 wheel, 450.
Yeah, it's around 400. I had a dyno at one point, an all-wheel drive dyno, obviously because it's all-wheel drive. I can't remember. It's quick, you know. I think it's at the time it was down. I think it's got a downpipe on it, Eurocharge something or other too. And there's not a lot of people that do, you know, the GLA stuff around here. So they had the most affordable, best option, and it's, you know, it's not like I wanted to go full build on that because I already got the 1 Series, the Noble. At the time I had the Jag. You know, it's just like you can only put so much money in certain things. You gotta.
Well, that's what I keep hearing from all the German guys. All I hear is downpipes and a tune. It seems like that's just step one.
That's the easiest. I mean, honestly, if I was going to do everything right, my advice to everybody would be like, enjoy the car for a year and then just spend the money and get what you want. You know, get the downpipe, get the tune, get the intercooler, do that. But before you do any of that, make sure your maintenance is up to date. You know, all your gaskets. That's the big thing. The gaskets and stuff for the N54, especially, they like to leak. I've never really had big problems. You know, I think, you know, you asked about that. You know, the engine popped one time. That was my neglect and stupidity. Other than that, I mean, yeah, you have the water pump has like this plastic propeller and it breaks. I haven't replaced a water pump. You know, knock on wood in a while. The coil packs, there's some recalls on that. The high pressure, the high pressure fuel pump, there's a recall on that. They took care of that stuff, but really it's been a pretty damn solid car over the last couple of years, or last 10 years. AMG I'm getting more problems with, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like no matter what, I don't care what platform it is, I think everybody has a water pump complaint. I seriously, like,
they always break.
Like, once you get a car to, you know, whatever, 60,000, 80,000, 100,000 miles, I feel like no matter what, the water pump's going.
It's kind of a wearable item, but is it at least on the outside of the engine?
I don't believe so.
So this is where my problem lies, is when they put them internal, like Ford does in their new 3.5s, it's inside the engine, so it can put water in the oil. It has all kinds of problems that, you know.
I think it's an internal one, but don't quote me. You know, I don't work on my own cars. I mean, I'll do like brakes and certain things. I don't have time for it anymore. There's people out there that specialize in it that are better at it than me, and I don't want the liability.
Businesses.
Yeah, I'd rather support friends and stuff like that. Plus, so for me, if I spend working time on my car, then I am spending less time on my kids or my business, you know, focusing on my real estate clients, which is ultimately how I pay for stuff, you know, my hobbies and my toys, etc. So you just kind of quantify your time that way. It just makes more sense. As you know, when I was younger, when I was first driving cars, I was more of a Nissan guy, actually. You know, I had a Nissan Maxima and a 240Z or 240SX rather that was manual swapped. It was fun. Still actually have that 240, but my buddy has it right now. I think he's trying to make it for his kid, and he's just going to buy me out on it. We bought it together a long time ago. Never really did much with it. It was a cool car. But we would do our own clutches. We would do, you know, everything. I'd work on my neighbors' cars and stuff like that for extra cash. But I was in my mid to late 20s, just out of the military. So it's just like, you know what? I'm going to, you know, try to make some extra money. But now that's flip-flopped. You know, so I have the time. I don't have the time, but I have the money.
Well, the whole built not bought thing is so exhausting sometimes, because at a certain point, especially if you do have a career and all that stuff, it's like, I'd rather just make the money and pay someone else to do it, because otherwise I'm sacrificing literally everything else just to say I built it. Like,
yeah, good for you, bud.
I'm in the same camp you're in right now. So I have a shop, I have a lift, I have a 2-stage air compressor, I have a tire machine, I have all this stuff.
That's awesome.
And a junkyard.
But I don't
work on my own cars.
And I don't. I can, but I'm just. I don't have the time. Yeah. It's the same thing with kids, work, all this stuff. It's like it's much easier. I can get it back in like 3 or 4 weeks. Then it's done. If I do it, it's going to take me a year or two.
Yeah. Well, then there's the liability portion too. Like, I mean, you have a shop do some work, and if they fuck it up, then it goes back to them. Yeah, it sucks, especially if it's like a friend's business. Like, hey, dude, like, something's going on here. You know, as a human, most people shouldn't be trying to take advantage of shops and stuff like that. But as a human, you go to them and be like, hey, like, this is not right. And most shops make things right.
Yeah.
Unless they can prove that it was neglect or something. That
certain things burned down. Things are given away. Insurance claim. Whatever.
Yeah. There's.
Yep. You got it.
Yep. I'm tracking. But you do it yourself. It's like, I give this example, like hanging a TV. Right.
He's very familiar. You're familiar with that, Dan.
Like literally what I do for a living. But yeah,
I can hang my own TVs. But if you do it for a living, you're insured, or your entity is insured. If you drop an 86-inch TV, it's a $4,000 TV. Mm-hmm. You're insured. Your insurance is paying for that, right? Or something's coming out of your business.
Yep.
Whereas if I'm hanging it myself, we bought a new house a couple years ago, and I'm like, I'm gonna have Best Buy or whoever the hell do this, and because I don't want to drop $10,000 for TVs to hang.
Yep.
I'm not dropping these TVs. I'm just, and it was way worth the time.
Yeah.
Especially my 86-inch that's above the fireplace. It's all, they had 4 guys come out and got it all done. But if they would have dropped that if I would have dropped that thing.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Schitt's Creek for that one.
Yeah. And same thing with an engine, right? If I tear down, which I've never done, I've never tear down my own engine or torn down my own engine, but I did something wrong with a clutch or, blew my own car up, then, I'm out the money. Mm-hmm. And it sucks.
Before we get too far into the show, I wanted to take a moment to talk about Razahood. If your daily driver is having issues, aka your beater you got off Craigslist, Razahood's telemechanics and AI tools can help you diagnose and solve the issues you may be dealing with for a fraction of the cost. All you have to do is add your car to the Razahood garage to get started. You can provide the AI tool, also known as Gus, with the specifics of the issues you're having, and it'll help you narrow down what the culprit is. It's a great way to bounce ideas off of to figure out what actually might be the problem. You could then select from a variety of solutions to explore the cost and difficulty of doing the repair yourself versus taking it to a shop. If your car doesn't have detailed solutions yet, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and add your car to the garage for free, and that'll let the Razahood team know what to focus on as they continue to develop and grow. If you want to try out Gus or chat with a telemechanic, go to Razahood.com and add your car to the garage to get started. Use code MONOXIDE-FREE for a 1-month free subscription, or Monoxide20 to save 20% on a 30-minute call with a telemechanic. Let's get back to the show.
So if I had somebody else do it.
Another example I'd like to use is, like, for example, SEMA, Battle of the Builders. Those guys dedicate their entire lives to winning that competition. Everything else goes to the side. I'd be amazed. I haven't met much of those guys, but I guarantee you, somewhere in other aspects of their life, took a back burner so they could win this competition, being the builder they are.
Well, I bet it's partly also like sponsors and their lifestyle, like their lifestyle and livelihood.
Bingo.
Right. So if they have the livelihood to do, I mean, there's was it Dustin? Do you know Dustin?
Which Dustin? Williams?
Built that that Lotus Monavetti.
Oh yeah.
You should chat with him. He might give you some insight on some of that kind of stuff. He's an engineer of sorts, and he's building his own house now. He's doing some wild things, and that's what he wants to do with his free time, and that's great.
Amazing work, by the way. Like, I mean, at first, I think his car was like a BMW V10 too, wasn't it?
He did a.
Or is it a trans?
It's turboed the BMW V10, the naturally aspirated V10 engine, which is bonkers to begin with. And then he turboed it or whatever the hell, and then he slapped it in that. He extended the frame of the Lotus, the Lotus Elise, I think. I remember that car when it was stock, and then he pulled up to some shows, and he's a nice kid. He's smart, very smart.
I reached out. Maybe something will happen one day. It would be cool because that is a crazy build. Did you ever see the Monavetti?
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, like you said, it's an extended Lotus Elise, threw a big ass V10 in there. Just he's trying to build like his own supercar company is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, and he'll throw out like other renders and stuff like that that look pretty slick. But what were you saying?
It's difficult. Like I hope it comes to fruition, but getting something like that off the ground is not easy.
Yeah.
Right now, he's building his own house. You
Yeah.
know, he bought some land and he's designing his own house. We've chatted a little bit about that stuff, and yeah, he's got some wicked plans. And there's funny. Looking at building this house, and instead of putting big windows in, he's putting like sliding glass door windows instead of putting in the windows. It's one thing he was telling me. I was like, interesting. It works. I mean, the windows, like if you put them in and they look like real windows, like nobody'd notice. You know, like you have a sliding glass door, it closes and opens, and then you have a stationary side. You just buy the stationary side or whatever. And I was like, huh, that's pretty slick. I never knew. I'm really looking forward to seeing his house. But yeah, if you can get him on a podcast, I'll ping him too. And,
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Let's talk about the Noble though, because that was my first time flying out to California. First time in California, we got to do some. Dude, the food that if anybody doesn't know this, you are the food guy.
I am the food guy.
Like you have.
Can you tell?
Sounds like my kind of guy.
You have such
We
good
just become best friends?
Yeah.
You've never let me down with a recommendation, I don't think. I'm pretty sure you haven't. And especially when we were in California, we got some of the best food. We picked up the Noble, which, you know, the way I opened this episode, it was the Lamborghini Killer when it came out. When did the Noble come out?
Well, you know, like the history of the Noble, you know, I don't know everything, of course, and, you know, other listeners, they might be able to chime in on some of the specifics. You know, the Lee Noble was the original creator, and I think he worked for like Lotus or something like that back in the day, but the Noble has been around for longer than it's been in the United States. It was originally in England or United Kingdom or whatever. And they have like the Noble M10, the Noble M12, the Noble M12 GTO, M12 GTO 3R, the M400, M500, M600. They have all these different variants. But a company here in the United States, they ended up linking up with the folks over there at Noble, and essentially were offering to be able to import these cars through like it's almost like what do they call it, a kit car, but it's not. It's a factory ordered kit, so you can order the car through the place called 1G Racing in Ohio. Once you do that, the car gets built to spec over in the UK, and then it assembled, tested over in was it Port Elizabeth, South Africa by 1G Racing or something, or High Tech Automotive, sorry. And then they get disassembled. The power plant gets removed, so then it comes to the United States, and then it gets reassembled as a factory kit. So you couldn't, like, people are like, oh, is that a kit car? Not really. Because it's not like a factory 5 where you can order the car and like get a wrench out and put it together yourself. It's
right.
That's not how it was. So yes and no. It's a factory vehicle, especially in the UK, but it was ordered as a factory kit to kind of get around some of those the crash laws and whatnot. But to answer your question, in the United States, the first year was 2004. Is when they first came in, and that's actually the year that I have. I think I have number 80 something. I can't remember the noose number. Noble US number something or other. 80 something. But yeah, I bought it from the second owner. You met I think his name was Rick. You met him down in California. I went down to Long Beach. Yeah.
He had the first ever pair of like Brixtons or whatever, like of a particular
on
like
his Porsche, right?
Yeah, the first ever floating hub or whatever it was, Brixtons.
That was the first thing I noticed when we pulled up. I was like, damn, look at that thing, that Porsche. And then he had that California, and he had something. I think he actually had a factory 5.
I think so, yeah. One of those knockoff Cobras. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Well, you know, our buddy John Petrie has one too.
It's a great car.
They're sweet.
Yeah, I shot a cruise for those guys, like the 4 or 5 car cruise of 5 Cobras. It was cool.
Those are super cool. Yeah, not my cup of tea.
You can appreciate it. You would never own it.
Yeah, they're great.
I'm in the same. I'm a huge Shelby fan and a Ford fan, and I'm just still. They don't get me where I. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a collection of money to have a collection, it'd be top 50. It'd be in there, right?
Yep.
It'd be in there for sure. I mean, I can think of a ton of cars that I would have if I had that kind of wealth. You know, I wouldn't be collecting 8,000 Bugattis or whatever people do, or 8,000 Ferraris. I'd have variety because that's the spice of life, is what they
Yeah.
say. So.
I always say I'd have the weirdest collection you've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm gonna have something completely stupid.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Adam Smith had some of the best answers when he said that. He's like, if I had unlimited budget, I'd have 70 ship boxes in a warehouse.
Yeah.
A bunch of Honda Fits swapped with this and that. Like,
well, I think, I don't know if it was Adam's idea during the Crown days, but they had that shitbox cruise or whatever, the rally. Did you ever see about that?
I think I've heard people talk about it.
Yeah, so they had, besides the Crown rally, they also did a shitbox cruise rally where it was like literally like you get entered. I can't remember the name of it. I didn't join it because I think I was living in India or China at the time. But it was like $1,000 in total is what you could spend on the chassis of the vehicle and mods and stuff like that. And then they went around and did their rally, and that seems right up Adam's alley. He's a tinkerer, as you already know. He was on your podcast earlier.
Yeah, that was fun. There was a lot of stories on there. Like, he's like, I don't know if I should have said that. He's like, forget about it.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. Yeah, we actually swapped keys one time. We got to do it again. His Viper, the TT Viper. And
have you driven it into twin turbo state?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get into boost a lot?
A little bit. I mean, it was kind of cold, and it was I was in Dayton. We didn't drive. He drove mine. I drove his back to my house. We were at like a car show, and I was like, yeah, let's just go back to your house and hang out, and so we just drove each other's cars back to my house. And,
I remember one time we did a cruise. I remember you just like whipped it through a corner. That's a core memory.
in the Noble?
In the Noble, yeah. Like, you just slightly, like, it stepped out a little bit. It was cool to see.
Well, that thing has no nannies either. So like, there's no anything. I mean, the good thing is that the engine's in the rear, right? So it's an easy car to drive, but it's also an easy car to fuck up. I mean, you really gotta know how to drive it.
What does it weigh?
It's like 2,400 pounds. With me, it's obviously more.
Wow.
Talking about food, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an easy car to drive. The BMW is completely different because it's 600 whatever to the wheels. Once I get a port injection and then I'll go full E85 and put the stage whatever the hell clutch it is, dual ceramic clutch whatever, put that in there, and that'll I'll have Brian retune it to 700, completely different. Yeah, it's it'd be stupid.
Get the fuck out of here.
The car's already dumb. It's got 4 R888Rs on it and the 600 whatever the hell the wheels. And
I think I drove it actually one time, if I remember correctly.
did you drive it with the new tune?
I think it was about 5 or 550 at the time, something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
I did not get on it too much because I suck in manual, but
Sure.
It got down, like, you were like, put it down in second and whomp through the tunnel.
yeah, maybe it was after the new tune that that Brian did. Most likely, yeah. I mean, I had that automatic one, which was the original one that I had. That was 450 with the wheels on an E blend, and then I think it was like 390 on just 93 octane, which was totally fine. I liked that car. It had more creature comforts. I need to bother. I might actually go bother Brian after this because he tuned out my cruise control on my manual BMW. So I'm like, I texted him like a couple days after he tuned it. And this has been a year and a half or 2 years ago now that he tuned it. I just haven't done it. And he's a busy dude, so I don't want to bother him just to have him hook up my car and just put my cruise control back on it, just whatever. But the problem is, after my wife totaled her Ford Escape, I daily drive either the BMW or the Mercedes. Mm-hmm. And when she takes the Mercedes, I have to drive the BMW. And if I go across town for showings or whatever, I have no Bluetooth in that car, so I got to wear my headphones. There's no creature comforts. It doesn't have heated seats, which whatever. I don't really care. I'm not that bougie. But the issue is the cruise control. I miss that. So driving a Mercedes is super nice, but it's definitely different. But yeah, back to the Noble. It's going around. I can whip it around. I have to try though. Like, honestly, I have to try unless there's dirt or it's a little bit cold out. Mm-hmm. I do have to kind of like pop that clutch, and then she gets happy.
Gets rowdy.
Yeah, or if I'm going fast through a turn,
Mm-hmm.
then she'll slide, which is really controllable. Honestly, it really is. It's a very, very maneuverable car. The downforce in that car, you really feel that thing suck to the ground too. Especially once you're going a little bit faster.
Double wang gang.
What size of a
wang gang.
rear tire is on it? Do you know?
It's not wide enough. So I mean, ultimately the goal with that car, Nth Moto, when I on Crown Rally a number of years ago, I popped the engine on that thing. So I'm gonna get to your question, and then.
I've actually found myself in some Noble forums because I just picked up a Ford Contour SVT, which has the 2.5 in it. Yeah. So I'm looking. I was like, maybe I could look at a turbo kit. Well, right there, Ford Contour. Noble.
It's a similar engine, so it's got the 2.5, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so the Noble's got the 3-liter, but the Contour has the European version.
Okay.
The Noble has the European version 2.5-liter in the UK. So
Okay.
the older Nobles, like the M12, I think does, the M10, whatever, they have that similar engine, that Duratec, whatever the SVT has. The Nobles have the 3-liter Duratec engine. So at one point in time, this is kind of funny. At one point in time, I had 2 fucking 3-liter Duratecs in my house. That Ford Escape, and then the Noble. And they literally, you could tell that they sounded somewhat similar, just on like certain idles and stuff like that. It was kind of funny. And then when I had the Jag at the same time, the Jag, that V8 is built off of the same Ford Duratec kind of platform. They all have similarities. So I essentially had 3 similar style engines that were wildly different. I had the Ford Escape, the Noble, and then the Jag, the AJ 130. Not the AJ one. Maybe it was 133. I don't remember. Anyway, the V8, the supercharged V8. So
3 cars that you wouldn't think would have anything in common.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely different, right?
Yeah, exactly.
People walk up to me in that Noble and they're like, "What the hell is that thing? Is that a?" I've had everything from Lotus to Ferrari to Koenigsegg when it's all open and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a Koenigsegg. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is. But it's a fun car to drive. And to answer your question, it's 265 in the rear. I think.
Yeah, that's skinny.
They're thin. Yeah. They're thin tires, but because the engine's in the back, it gets pretty good traction. Mm-hmm. But after I popped the engine on Crown Rally a number of years ago, I was at Road America. They have a long, like, sweeping turn, right?
Yep, the carousel.
Yeah, that's what they call it. Thanks. I was going around. I mean, probably had 8 laps or so, and the oil went to one side. Oil pickup issues. There's no dry sump, wet sump, whatever. There's a track pan in there, but the baffling sucks. So, popped the engine, and a couple of guys on Crown were nice enough to help me get the car back to Minnesota, because I was planning on just driving it back, and I didn't plan accordingly. Apparently, but you never planned for a car to blow up.
No.
So I popped it, and then I called the folks over at Nth. Aaron over there. I'm sure you know Aaron very well. One of the brightest dudes that I've ever met. As far as automotive stuff is concerned, he will talk your ear off, and he will make you feel like you're just as intelligent as him. He'll break it down Barney style, ABC 1, 2, 3, and you'll be like, "Oh my God, that makes sense," even though you have no idea you wouldn't know what he's talking about, but you do, because he breaks it down so well. So he built the car. He did the engine for me. He rebuilt everything, and then we're going to be doing some sort of single turbo, big single turbo swap with a Motec or whatever the hell he wants, and they're pretty much do blank check to him and be like, "Have fun." And then eventually I'll send it over to a body shop to widen the rear track. I'm going to get some Archer Blade R's on there, especially after it gets that power.
Yep.
Because I want 6 to 7 of the wheels in that thing. Effectively doubling the wheel horsepower. I think it's like right now I had on the dyno, it was like 320, something like that.
Okay. So after the Road America incident, you basically just rebuilt it back to stock then?
So it's stocks. Like, nothing external changed. I did add the folks over at JWP, they did the engine removal and engine reinstallation, and then we had to add a breather, an oil breather or whatever to it. What do they call that? A blow-by valve thing. What do they call those things?
A doohickey.
A doohickey, exactly. So they added one of those, so it reduces the blow-by and the smoke. But the internals, so we beefed everything up. Springs will eventually go higher RPMs. Things got short legs. I mean, it's just like I'm shifting like every second in that car. It's quick. So
he being Aaron.
Okay,
yes, so he rebuilt it then.
He did a full rebuild on the engine with
the inside's ready for boost.
Oh
basically.
yeah, she's ready. I mean, he's like, this thing's ready for like 900. easy all day.
Nice.
So yeah, so it's just the turbo, and the rest of it's just the turbo and all the rest of the supporting stuff on the exterior, and they're so busy. So, and I'm not in a rush, honestly, it's money is not unlimited, their investments go other places and stuff like that. So, but
So you're on the wait list then, or is that just like a later problem sort of
yeah,
deal?
pretty much Aaron just knows to contact me when he wants to get me on his schedule.
Okay.
So, and I'm like, I'm not in a rush because I love the car as it sits, and frankly, I'm putting my money elsewhere right now. But it is in the works. It is something that I will be doing with that car.
Well, especially if you want to go again the 600-700 horsepower route, and then Motec by itself is not cheap.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking a $10,000 ECU at least. It's going to be full custom, piping, full custom intercooler.
Yep.
The turbo location right now, one of the turbos sits right behind you, and it's just hot. So that one's going to get removed, and then the other turbo is underneath the intercooler in the back, if you can kind of picture it. And that's where the big single is going to go. I mean, it's going to look nasty. And then, of course, like the rest of the cooling stuff, there's going to be that.
Right. Well, when it comes to Nth Motor, right, especially having been around some of their cars over the last few years, like some shops like to take the approach of like, all right, we're going to throw a turbo, an intercooler, blah, 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 just piece together parts. Whereas Nth Moto, from what I've gathered, is they take a holistic approach. How is this thing going to work as a system altogether? This thing works with that. That's the better approach, because at the end of the day, yes, it's more custom. Yes, it costs more money. But one thing you get with that is peace of mind. Mm-hmm. And then you just get the quality that comes with it.
That's what ultimately attracted me to, having Aaron over at Nth do the work. I mean, obviously his guys did the,
Get a little hair closer, by the way.
A hair closer.
Okay, you shifted on me.
Actually, I'm going to take my sweatshirt off. I'm getting a little warm. You guys.
Yeah, sweet. We'll just talk about Ford stuff or whatever. Just keep Dan awake here.
I'm good. This got a Ford engine in it.
Sorry, buddy.
No.
Yeah, no, it's always really fun to. Whenever somebody brings up Ford anything, Dan's encyclopedia boots up, and he's like, "Oh, fucking A."
Well, you know what's funny is he was you were mentioning talking like you're not.
Yeah.
Because you weren't quite here. You were mentioning the Ford Contour. In fact, a lot of the dials and stuff in the Noble, they're from the Ford Contour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's actually, I think it's the European version of the Ford Contour. I don't really specifically know, but I know for a fact. I think the steering column, the shroud, and all that stuff is from a Contour.
I know what you're talking about, and I can't remember what it's actually called over there. But yeah, it's more sporty over there than it was over here. And they and I can't. What the fuck do they call it?
The engine, the 3-liter in Europe, it was the Ford. What is the other Ford? They call it the Mondeo or
that's what it is. The Ford, it's the Mondeo, I think.
It's the Ford. That's the Ford Taurus, though. That's the version.
Is it?
Of the Ford
Okay.
Taurus, yeah. So that's that 3-liter V6. I don't know what they call the Contour over there, but it is a different name. Then they took like the transmission out of something, and then the taillights of the Hyundai Sonata, but most of the internal, like you'll get in the Noble and you'll be like, oh, well, shit. It's totally a Contour from the 90s or whatever. Yeah. It's based, and one of the dials, like the selector switch for the comfort controls, the comfort, right, in the Noble.
I was comfortable in that car. In the 4-hour drive we did from California to Vegas, I was comfortable.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
And being a bigger dude and being a taller dude, it was, surprising. It was fine. Yeah.
I saw it at Fast and Furious this last year. I saw your car, and I looked inside. I was like, there's no way Jeff rides in this thing. I'm like, oh my God.
It's funny watching me, or so I have heard. It's funny watching me get in and out of that vehicle. I'm so quick at it now at this point, butt first, as it should be. But I go in,
Big butt guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and a deadlift, 700. So it's of course my butt's gonna grow. But getting in and out of the car can be a challenge, especially after leg day. Or if you have a leg injury or anything like that. But I watch smaller people than all three of us. Even like what's his name, Trey down there, like somebody his size. Smaller dude, should be very limber, but they struggle. They're like, how do I do this?
There's an art to getting into. There's a video that went viral of some chick talking about how to get into supercars last year or whatever.
Oh, was there?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
I'm sure if you saw it, you'd recognize it.
Yeah.
But it's like there is a little bit of an art to getting into it.
Yeah.
Like that nowadays, I should be able to. You know what the hardest car for me to get into
Viper.
is probably the Lotus Elise.
Ah, yes.
That car's a motherfucker.
Yeah, well, it's such a short car, right? So I also have the same problem with the AMG, the baby AMG, as it were, because it's such a short wheelbase, short car, and then it's got 4 doors. So the doors are like this freaking long.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so like you get in, you're just like,
You have to get around the pillar.
Yeah, the
I do that with
VM
my GTI too, but again,
do you?
the seats are all the way back. But yeah, getting around that little B pillar is a pain in the ass.
yeah, and you hit your head on the way in all the time, and
I did that on my mom's Wrangler, actually. I was getting out of it, and I just turned real quick and just whack, bending my glasses. I thought I broke them.
do you have any issues with your Gladiator?
No, which is weird, but but my mom's car is the Rubicon version, whatever, the slightly lifted one, and then also has bigger tires on there, so maybe that threw me off because I hit my head hard, dude.
Yeah.
So that's why I started stuttering on the podcast. That's the real behind the scenes story.
But yeah, the trip, that was fun, man. I still talk about it.
That was really, really fun. I mean, so that was like peak COVID, like December 2020. We got a suite at the Bellagio.
That's right. Well, that was after we left California. We did some shit down in California. We didn't do too much down in California. We had, what's his face, Aaron, come with us too. He rented that Camaro convertible, right?
Yeah.
And then we went around. He tooled around in some of the mountains and stuff like that. And we had.
I was freezing in the back of that stupid Camaro because we
Remember
had the
that?
top down because I couldn't fit with the what's it called, the top up.
Yep.
Because you would literally just But I was that it was still like I want to say like 40, 50 degrees at night. Which Minnesota, no big deal, right? But that ocean air is a different level of cold.
Sure.
Yeah, I was freezing my ass off in the back of that thing.
Yeah, and we weren't going too terribly slow. I mean, it was a Camaro, so it's not like it was going super fast. I think it was a V6 Camaro.
It was.
Yeah.
Nothing's faster than a rental car, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
how it gets driven anyway.
When we were down there, he rented a car to follow me, so we could, he can get some rolling shots and stuff like that. And then he wanted to, he's like, it's a Camaro. We're out in California. Let's go hit some roads. So we did, and we had fun. And what did we had some good food in California too.
We had that Japanese curry. First time ever having Japanese curry.
Dude. Oh, I have been eyeballing their website. Like I look at their website probably a couple times a year. So it's a place called Koko Ichiban. When I was in the service over in Japan, got addicted to this stuff. It's Japanese comfort food, Japanese curry. It's lovely. It's amazing. It's the best type of curry there is. Anyway, they have 1 or 2 in Hawaii and a couple in Florida, and I think they just opened one somewhere in Texas. But they don't have a big distribution network here in Minnesota, in the United States yet. So they haven't opened it up. But I will buy a franchise for this place. Don't take it from me, anybody.
Do they have a franchise
Seriously.
structure yet or no?
Not here in the United States yet.
I'm sure if you reached out and haggled.
Oh, well, you go to their website and you look, like, do you franchise, blah, blah, blah. They literally say on their website that they don't have the support structure here in the United States
I get
yet.
it.
But it is definitely one that I want to do because Japanese culture here in Minnesota doesn't really exist. The Japanese food kind of sucks, and
There's like a handful of like all right places from what I've heard.
they're decent. Yeah, but that's why when we went there, I'm like, oh, we have to go here. Then we went to Vegas. We drove the car to Vegas. I'm like, all right, now we get some real food because Minnesota has a decent food culture. Like there's some good stuff, but it's few and far between. You're gonna get a couple decent Jamaican restaurants, you're gonna get a couple decent Japanese restaurants. You get a ton of Vietnamese. I mean, obviously
We have a strong culture that here, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, you have Vietnamese, Lao, Thai, a lot of that. Partly because there was a lot of immigrants from issues back 30, 40 years ago. Other people can talk more about that, but we, as a state, took a lot of them in.
Minnesota's always had a pretty good refugee program. That's why, like, for
Yeah,
example,
that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep. For example, like, my parents were Bosnian. A lot of my family, or all my family's Bosnian, and that's Minnesota was one of the places where a lot of us landed. It was that, and then, dude, we had the biggest density of Bosnians down in St. Louis. It is
Interesting.
ridiculous. I'm not sure what their program looks like, but literally, like, it's little Bosnia there.
So is there a lot of good Bosnian restaurants in Minnesota then? I mean,
No, not I can't think of any. I know we have like a one store over here that got bought out by some dude, but yeah, but if you go down to Iowa, there's a handful of good places. Actually, I think down in Rochester, there's a lot of us down there too, from what I've heard.
Speaking of Bosnian food, I just got off the phone with your dad earlier.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you have to come over. I'm going to throw some stuff on the grill and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, make some Bosnian food. I'll make you a steak, dude. You come to my house, I'll make you a steak. I want you to make some Bosnian food. I didn't tell him that, but I said, of course.
Yeah, Eric, who was on the podcast before here too, episode 3, and I want to say 29. But he tried some of our stuff too. He was a fan.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think you and Eric are fairly similarly minded, as in you want to try other culture stuff.
Yeah, and if I don't like it, I won't have it again. But I want to try it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I want to try all of it.
Yeah.
That Chinese restaurant we went to in Vegas, dude. First of all, for anybody who hasn't been to Vegas, or if you've been there and you haven't explored enough, you have to go off the strip.
Oh yeah.
You have to. I learned that lesson going with you.
Chinatown this last time was out of control. That was so good. The food was amazing. The nightlife was great.
I wish we went to the place that we went to though.
Yeah.
We just didn't have time. But
I mean, I get messages a couple times a month from people saying I'm going out of state, or where should I go to take my my girlfriend or whatever. I like it. Like I literally have places in almost every state that I have like either been to or are going to, have done my own research, I've looked into things, and it's all tagged on like my Google Maps and stuff like that. So I have all these different
We could definitely hang out because I have the same thing. Like I don't travel to places, literally go eat at a place.
Well, then we're gonna have to compare notes at some point.
I want to go try some New Haven pizza now after watching Dave Portnoy and all that. So yeah.
Pizza. I'm on a cut right now, so talking about food, I got my meal prep sitting right here. I'm like, well, I'm gonna wait till we're done though. I'm gonna starve myself. I'm on like it's like an 800 calorie deficit right now, so it's oh yeah.
He's gonna start getting angry here soon.
Well, that's my secret captain. I'm always angry. But Vegas.
Probably one of Xiaolongbao, I think, right?
Xiaolongbao.
Xiaolongbao.
Yes. Xiaolongbao. Yes. So living in China, living in China. I say I lived in China, but I mean I was there. I stayed in a long-term Howard Johnson hotel, the Hojo, in south of Shanghai, and I was working on these jet engine testing facilities. So think of like a jet engine dyno. It was super cool. Yeah. So you take the engine off, and then you put it up.
Yep. And I've been there. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. We were commissioning these facilities. It was cool.
How do they measure that? They just got like a fan that they're holding back there to measure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Just one large fan.
One of those pinwheels you can pick up at the grocery store.
No, it measures the thrust by like pressure essentially. So you mount the engine up to this big structure, and then it mounts to that structure, and then the structure via the thrust. So once the engine starts going, the thrust goes back, and it measures the pressure against that. So that's how if you have like a GE90 engine, that it's got 100,000 pounds of thrust. So that's how it's all measured. Okay. But then they take all sorts of different readings and stuff like that. So engines got to come off. Regulations for the FAA and rules for engines. So it's very, very strict. So that's what I was doing over there. It was super cool, but the other thing was getting into the cultures. I got the weekends off generally. I go up to Shanghai. This is before I was married. So I was dating some gals in the area. They were showing me around and local breweries, and you don't think people think a lot of negatively about China because of the recent COVID stuff.
Well, it's just media in general, like us versus them, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, most of them are just citizens, right? Like just like here, like people think negative, like the United States, but people just want to fucking live, man. Like at the end of the day, right? So they do have a wonderful culture in their own. They are perceived as rude by the Western culture, but once you understand why, then it becomes normal. Right? It's just that's how it is. So for us, we would be like, "Well, that was rude," but it's just how they are.
There's a lot of Americans that I hate too.
Oh yeah, we're rude as shit.
Yeah,
dude. We're rude.
right,
We're terrible. Like, you go to Japan, we're hated. Not hated, but we're loud. We're obnoxious. We're entitled. Yeah, it's bad.
It all comes down to like culture too. And I had a little bit of a culture shock growing up through like middle school, because like how my parents were raising me, and then like seeing like how like the schools operate. Like it did like. You wouldn't think much of it, but it's like, oh, like my parents are straight to the point, like, hey, just do it. Yeah. Whereas schools would like negotiate with you, like, come on, little Timmy, do this, like, and I was just like, well, Mom, my teacher tells me this, like, this is an actual conversation I had in like 7th grade, being like, they had to explain what tough love was to me.
Sure.
And it's really just a cultural difference. So I totally get that, when it comes from China and America.
Or just different cultures in general, right? I mean, our culture, we have a big cultural shift going on right now, but that's another conversation for another time, of course. I don't want to get into too much of that. But, on that, the food side, we are a big, or going back to the food side, we're a big melting pot. So we have all the foods, we have all the cultures, so that creates social issues that no other country has, frankly. But it also brings a lot of good. I don't know too much about the Bosnian culture, but I do because of you. I don't know too much about other cultures, but I do because of people that are in my circle and stuff like that. Of course, I'm a lot more well-traveled than many, living in China, India, Puerto Rico.
Were you in Japan for a little while too, or no?
In Japan, yeah. Lived in Japan. Obviously, I've married into the Japanese culture multiple times. I have an ex-wife who is full Japanese. My current wife now is half Japanese. And that was a coincidence. That wasn't an intentional plan. It was just a coincidence. But yeah, I mean, so I know the culture very well because of that. And then, multiple different countries, as you know. So the food, though, in the United States, because of that, we have such a lovely culture for food. And
especially if you travel.
Yeah, Las Vegas is the place to go. Las Vegas, some places in California.
I imagine New York has a pretty good melting pot.
New York does as well, but it's not nearly as easy to get around or easy to access. And that's why I say Las Vegas, because you can get literally everything there.
Within just a couple-mile walk.
Yeah, and it's cheap as fuck. Go on to those, what are the slot games on your phone, right? My wife plays these slot games, and she just sits there, and she's got like some millions of points, and she's got like, oh yeah, I got like a week free vacation stay at like these hotels, and like, hey, I could take a cruise for, whatever, for this amount of tickets. I'm like, what? So she just sits there on her phone, dinks around playing these slots, doesn't spend any money on it. But yeah, you can get free night stays at these hotels.
Huh.
Like the Bellagio, like what we stayed at. Remember, we rented a suite down there.
Yeah, it was a suite. It had a steam shower and everything.
Yeah, it was super boomerish, like really like old school, like it's like this color, like this maroon color, but like paisley everything. You remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like nice. Like it wasn't like grandma's couch.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like bad boomerish. It was bougie boomerish. There we
go. we took advantage of that steam shower, but also it's like
not together.
Yeah.
My mind went there right away. But yeah.
I saw your reaction, and I'm like,
I shouldn't say we.
I mean,
but
no judgment. But.
Yeah.
But no, it's like, again, peak COVID, so things were cheap. I think we got that suite for, I want to say it was like $300 a night, $350.
Yeah, I don't remember, man.
Like, which is what a Motel 8 costs in this economy.
Yeah, right now it would be like $800 or something.
Easy.
Like that. Yeah.
Well, that was right before New Year's too. Like,
was it after New Year's?
It was just after Christmas. We went.
Yeah, because we went down to. I went down. So I was in Miami.
Miami.
Yeah, I was down there, and then I saw the car pop up, and it was blue with custom HRE wheels, 8,000 miles on the thing, and I'm like, I was on vacation with my family. I'm like, fuck, this is the one. Wasn't red, wasn't modified to hell. Didn't have high miles. Looked great. So I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to fly from our vacation here in Miami, and I'm going to go check out this car. And then you get to deal with the kids on the way home. She's like, oh, okay. Super supportive. Awesome. Thanks, Vera. She's actually, a little shout out to her. She's been very supportive of my habits and stuff like that. Not only just cars, but also my nutrition and fitness and stuff like that. So kudos to her. But I left. I went to Long Beach. The guy was actually kind of funny. The guy was coming back from the East Coast, and he's like, yeah, just match my flight. So I matched his flight. We both landed within an hour of each other, and I think I was waiting for a little bit, and then he got off his flight, and I met him at the front, and he just picked me up his Tesla and drove me to his house. I looked at the car. I'm like, yep. It's a Noble. This is what I want. This is exactly what I want. Told him I'm going to buy it. He was going to list it on one of those bidding websites, but he made more money because he didn't have to pay their commission, their website commission. Mm-hmm. So he made some more money on it. Good for him.
And it was a decent price you got for it.
I was going to ask you, can I ask? Yeah. Okay, what do you pay for a car like that?
They run anywhere from, I've seen them go as low as 50 into the high 40s if they're like high mileage, like shit condition. That's mainly in the UK though, but in the United States, you don't see them go under 50. I paid about 60 for this one. It was 60 for this one. And again, low mileage. Like if it was to be resold right now, the same car, it would probably be 60 to 68, somewhere around there. So I haven't lost any money, but I have lost money because I did have to spend $15,000 on an engine build, but there is that.
Yeah.
And I put 10,000 miles on a car, but I think I'd be able to get most of my money back on that car. But it's not a car that I went with the intention to invest with. This is a long-term car for me.
There's still, when you're collecting cars, you're into cars. There's still certain ones that, like, yeah, you'll spend a lot of money along the way. You'll do this stuff, but typically when you get ready to sell it, you don't really lose a lot on what you initially invested in the car.
Yeah, well, especially some of these like exotics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or rare model cars and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you'll spend, 10, 15 grand here and there doing engine work or upgrades or stuff like that. But then when it comes time to dump it, it's not like the car itself depreciated by half like a lot of your other standard consumer cars.
Right.
So,
yeah, well, you look at any new car, there's the initial depreciation hit. But if you're dealing with like a used exotic supercar, used, rare modeled vehicle car, you're not going to lose much. I bought that Jag I think I bought it for 45, somewhere around there. Didn't too much. It was XFR-S, 1 out of 200 in the country. Awesome vehicle. I miss it. Makes me fart was the license plate, of course. Maximum effort, but it looked like makes me fart. Yeah. You should put that license plate up on your little screen for your podcast.
Yeah.
People can see the license plate makes me fart.
So we kind of glossed over that car. So kind of explain what that car was, and of course the wrap, because that's right around when I met you, and I was like, this guy's scary.
That was the first picture. Well, I'm not scary anymore. I'm bigger now. So that car, 1 of 200 in the country. It was the supercharged V8, about 550, I think, horsepower or whatever. Same engine like the SVRs or whatever. Might be a little variable difference, but so don't quote me, Jag nerds.
Those guys are a cult, aren't they?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it's a wonderful car. I wanted something different.
Hey guys, real quick, if you are this far into the show, you are probably enjoying it. That said, if you got 5 or 10 seconds to jump on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you're listening, to just drop a quick review, it will go a really long way in getting us in front of more car enthusiasts. A share on Facebook and Instagram doesn't hurt either. Let's get back to the show.
So I had the Jag. I needed a 4-door car because, family and real estate and stuff like that. So I'm like, I needed something different. Vera didn't have her Escape at the time, or she had her Escape at the time, but she didn't have the AMG at the time. I got that around COVID. Actually, I'll go into that in just a second. But the Jag, I bought that because I needed something a little bit bigger, and ended up going on the internet. I was looking at like a Panamera. I was looking at an M5. Had to be a manual, of course, if it was an M5. The Panamera didn't have at the time at the budget that I wanted to stay under. I wanted to be around like 50, 55. It didn't have the rear bench seating. It had that console in the center, so I got 2 people in the back. Hindsight's 2020. Would that have really mattered? Not really, but it was something that kind of swept me away from the Panamera. And then the BMW, I was like, man, I already got a BMW. Do I need another one? Like, let's do something different. I was scrolling through, I think it was Car Gurus or some website.
The best site ever.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I love the analytics on there. And so, that helps, helps and hurts my issues, my addiction.
Yeah.
Car shopping addiction. I just searched for like V8, 4-door, and then whatever. And then I was just scrolling through and I saw this beautiful red, just amazing red car. And it had like the angle of the picture, it was long hood, bumps in the hood, like black wheels. I'm like, oh. And I was like, it was 45 grand or something like that. 47, it was like 47 or something. And I click on it. I'm like, man, this is sweet. And I had a buddy who was still in the Marines down in, he's I think he's still in today. He's probably going to be retiring soon. But anyway, he's still in, and he's down stationed in California. I call him up and like, hey, got this Jag at this place right near your base. You go check it out for me. Go kick the tires. Absolutely. That sounds fun. He's not a big car guy, but he's like, yeah, I want to go check out a fucking Jaguar. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. So like, go drive it for me. Tell me if it sucks, whatever. So he went, took it for a spin. He's like, this thing's amazing, right? He's like, no problems with it. So I sent a check to the dealer, and the car got shipped. And I never drove it until it got delivered. Funny thing is, it got delivered on the same day as Jesse Lawrence. You know Jesse Lawrence. He got the first gen, the F90 M5, like a 2018 M5. And I felt kind of bad because that M5, I felt kind of crummy because that M5 was faster, way faster than the Jag. Even though the Jag was 550, it's a newer car. His is a newer car, different technology. Mine was a 2015, but mine sounded way better. We actually have a rev off that we did that same day. And my car got delivered at Sears Imports down in Minnetonka there, and I think we picked up his car earlier at BMW Minnetonka, and then we drove it to go pick up my car and hung out for the day and whatnot.
When he sold that car and he ended up getting the R6 Avant, he's like, I miss my BMW.
Yeah, he's had a couple BMWs. He's had, I think he's had a couple BMWs.
Handful of M5s, I think.
Yeah, M5. I think he had an X5M as well, and I think he fucking hated that thing. But yeah, he had the RS7 Avant. Does he still have it?
RS6 Avant, yeah.
RS6, that's what I said.
I don't know. I can't remember. Every once in a while I chat with him. So
he's doing his thing. He's doing his thing.
So did you modify the Jag at all? I think you did, right?
Pulley, tune, and of course I had to go dual cone intakes, which people don't like. Heat, soak, stuff like that. I didn't care. I wanted the noise. Like that, dude. That supercharger whine. Oh. It sounds like those cats, yelling. It was fun. I love that car.
What was it making power-wise? You remember roughly?
Yeah, it's like 520 to wheels.
To the wheels, okay.
Yeah, but it was the torque was nuts, instant. Yeah.
Well, we raced. When we did our Tail of the Dragon trip a handful of years ago, when who was it? Sean got chocolate on your seats. Was that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we went to the Tail of the Dragon in that car, didn't we? I did a couple rallies.
We did a little race in that car too. I was riding shotgun, and I think you raced. Was it Terry's NSX?
Terry's NSX, that new Gen NSX. Yeah. I don't know if he had modified. I think
it was stock at the time.
I think he returned it back to stock, but yeah, we raced to a liberal speed, if you will. Mm-hmm. I mean. Yeah,
we don't incriminate on this podcast.
No. We race to the
not that there's anything to incriminate
race to the speed limit of the Autobahn, and yeah, you were there. It pulled on it. He started catching up. I think. I think that the Jag started kind of running out of steam.
At a certain speed. Yeah.
And the NSX, obviously, with the electric motors and the aero and stuff like that, it would start pulling a little bit. But yeah, I mean, instantly off, and then pulled. And
it's all-wheel drive too, right?
Nope. The Jag's rear.
His rear-wheel drive, okay.
Yeah, so I did a quarter mile, on Crown Rally, so... you had asked about the wrap too. So initially, this was when Deadpool 1 had came out, like around that time, and I'm a big Deadpool. I've always been a big Deadpool fan. I'm kind of a nerd, like Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm like, this is a red car. I'm gonna wrap it Deadpool version, because there was only really one other car that had ever done some other fun wraps, and that was 8-bit, the GTR, the R32 GTR. He did like this wild and crazy, like a bunch of like video game stuff on his R32, and I was like, I'm gonna do something kind of cool. So I did a themed Deadpool wrap where I took Deadpool's logo and I had the wings, the Crown Rally wing thingies on there, and then I put the hashtag drive by, because in Deadpool he walks by his landlord farts and goes hashtag drive by, and so. And then my license plate happened to be like doubled up, like maximum effort. I went all out. I got maximum effort for the license plate, or MXM EFRT. So if you look at it, somebody, when I got it, I took a picture, put it on Facebook. People were like, makes me fart. And I'm like, Well, whatever. Let's roll with it. Yeah, it is. It makes me fart now. So, and people still poke fun at me about that one. But it's cool because it also said #drive-by right underneath that. And then the car was farty as hell. You remember that thing. I was going to do downpipes, or not downpipes, but headers and exhaust, because that car sounded so good. Jags in general sound really good. Mm-hmm. But this thing, man, that's one thing I miss. Starting that thing up. And then the pops and cracks and stuff. AMG doesn't do it. Mm-hmm. But I love that car. The Deadpool wrap, the color itself. You know, my BMW is that Sedona red, which is a lovely color, but it's not that same Jaguar red. If I shouldn't have sold it to the guy, but he loves it. He's down in Utah. The guy's got it. It was actually kind of cool. He hit me up sometime last year, and he was driving. He's got a buddy that lives up here, so he drove the car up and. You know, I met him for breakfast. I got to see the car again, and he's doing some stuff to it. So he's cool taking care of it. I love it. I loved it. Yeah, but that rally was fun. Eric Dunn probably still hates me, you know, because I let some stuff go in that vehicle. You know, he didn't like the smell. So we had a good time. I think we're gonna be doing another trip soon too.
The Niagara one, I think, right?
Yeah, we're doing that. I'm not gonna take any of my vehicles this time, though. I'm gonna go with Tony. He's got
ride shotgun.
Yeah, well, we'll switch driving one of his cars.
Passenger princess, I get it.
That's what I am. I'm really good at that. You know, I'm pretty.
Yeah, that'll be a cool trip. I won't be attending that one, but the Tail to Dragon trip was really fun in a small group. Actually, since that trip, like, I won't necessarily get into the podcast, but like I do like doing those like small group rallies.
They're so much better. I mean, honestly, like it is fun doing those rallies. Have you ever done? Did you end up doing one of the rallies?
I didn't, not for Crown. It was always on the list, and then it kind of fell apart there for a little bit. So
he's done most of my rallies. Over the years.
I've done,
but you've done some of the
absolutely
rallies,
plenty of rally.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a different way rather than it's fun because different activities, planned events, but it's a lot of people. Crown ended up getting too cliquey, and it was really obnoxious. There's a couple people that I just was like, but 90%, 95% of the people were wonderful, but it got very busy. There's so much going on, and you get super tired because you're trying to party and drink and then not drive drunk, but party late.
Well, you got to get the next morning and launch, and then sometimes there's a track event after that, and then you're like
dehydrated as piss. Yeah, so. Anyway.
Amazing, not without a doubt, but you do get tired real quick when you party hard.
Oh, for sure. Amazing, especially at my age, especially you get older, it's worse. Back in the military, it's like I'd party until 2-3 o'clock in the morning, get drunk as hell, then I'd be up for PT at 4 o'clock in the morning, running around like an idiot, smelling like booze. But now I can't do that. I drink a beer and I have a headache for a year. It sucks. But the small group setting stuff, like you just plan an event with people that are like-minded, that have similar driving styles, similar.
That's a huge part of driving style.
Yeah. I mean, you got some friends that they're friends. You'll spend time with them, but you get them behind a wheel, it's like you're an idiot. Like, what are you doing? I think there was one time too when you and I were driving down Texas. I'm like, dude. What are you doing? You're not an idiot, but it was just one little thing, and I'm like,
it was a miscommunication sort of thing. Yeah,
and it broke. I mean, sometimes it happens, and we're adults, and we resolved it pretty quick. But it is what it is. But we would be able to drive together pretty well because we've now driven together.
You get the general idea. That Texas trip was a lot. There was a lot of people trying to do different things. That was our first year going to Texas 2K, and
you were with what's his face, Sean, right?
Right, yep. Sean. Yep. Yeah. So it's hard to coordinate groups when people want to do different things.
That was a total different entity versus like us going down with like Trong Terry, Tony, Eric Dunn, a couple other.
We had one single mission: get the Tail to Dragon, have fun.
And it wasn't. There was no timeline. Right, we had a timeline,
roughly,
but it's like we were also kind of playing it by ear. We don't need to be here at this time. We don't need to do this. And Trung, being the kind of also the food nerdy he is, he likes planning that kind of stuff. So, we're looking for restaurants, and we're just hanging out at the hotel, having some beers, or, there's no pressure. You know what I mean? Like with the rally, there's a ton of pressure. Like, let's go.
This time.
Yeah.
And there's a time and place for it, right? Because, like, I'm involved with Community this year. I'm running 2 of their events.
Nice.
So it's like, there's an element of structure that's really nice. And granted, we don't have the whole partying aspect too, which kind of helps. We'll party, but
it's a different lifestyle version. Yeah. Crown was trying to make their baby gold rush, if you will.
Yeah.
Trying to have that lifestyle stuff.
And it ended up being the biggest rally in the country at one point.
They succeeded for what it was worth. So,
well, Smith dropped a little tidbit a couple episodes ago now. You good? What's going on?
I'm just trying to sit up and make sure it's close to me.
You're good. But he dropped a little tidbit that they are coming back.
Good for them.
So
I hope so.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but until then, like, I'm going to run these 2 with Community, which I think we should still have a $100 coupon or whatever for monoxide. I don't know. I'll have to check with Dan. But nonetheless, like, I'm excited because every year I try to do at least one rally.
Is the 10,000 Lakes rally?
It's rebranded as Community Road Rally now.
Okay. Are you doing some of the stuff with them too?
Yeah. I'm running both rallies where I'm consulting slightly with. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's like, I've done these, 5-6 years now. It's like I know what I want to do. Christ, I always say that I'm not going to talk about rallies and always end up coming. I'm sick of talking about
it's part of the community. It's part of the local community.
Right, it is Minnesota culture. Like, we are, like, if you
There's
were
a shit ton of rallies.
Yeah, like we have G-Force, we had, My Rally, Venom Rally, which was, Slash Whiplash Rally, the following year, which a lot of people say was one of the best ones they've attended. The small group we had.
I was looking forward to it too.
Yeah, well, north, but south, the one that actually did happen before I decided to get out of the rally game for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually got a lot of recommendations from Trung on that one. The hotel we stayed at in Nashville was a Trung recommendation.
Yeah, he loves Nashville. Yeah, he's a Nashville hound. Yeah.
It's a good time, but we ended up there during CMT Fest.
Okay.
So it got way crowded real bad.
Oh,
It's
you
already
loved
hard
it.
to get. It was a good time. I had a blast.
Yeah.
It's already hard to get into those bars to begin with, though.
Sure.
And then,
Yeah.
throw another
Well, right on that
40,000 people in there.
Right on that
Yeah.
strip. Yeah. It's busy as shit.
We got one of the nicest hotels on Broadway during CMT. And I was like, well, is it CMT? Country Music Festival?
Yeah, it's CMT Fest. It's
Whatever, country, whatever.
it just
Sure.
happened again here not that long ago. So, yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a fun one. And like, I've been on Crown rallies before. I've done, Joey's early renditions of G-Force. Like, it's we are kind of like a rally state for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, you got Cannonball. I mean, he was.
That's right.
Tyler, the Minnesota Cars and Coffee stuff. That's one of the OG, big shows here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Remember when it started? Cars and Coffee started back at literally a coffee shop in Chanhassen, and then it went to Motorplex, and then it's changed, places and whatnot. The other guy, Lewis, I don't know if he's too involved with that anymore, but. Tyler started doing the Cannonball rally after he started seeing some of the success from Crown Rally, which not to say like he was trying to mimic it, but it's like, hey, I could do
rallies
this
have been around since the 1900s.
Yeah, it's not like a unique idea.
Right.
And then I remember one of the first Crown rallies. Do you know Haley?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Polar Run.
Yep.
She came back from like her first Crown rally, and she's still high off the adrenaline. Like, oh my God, this is super fun. Let's do a winter rally, and then there goes the Polar Run rally, which is also a fun one. If you've never done it, it's a good time.
I've been trying to do it for like the last 2 or 3 years, and I have something that comes up. I can't
Every
do
single
it.
time.
Yeah, it sucks.
You should do it. I mean, if you
No,
can,
I want to.
honestly,
I have.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I have trucks and stuff too, so that'd be fun.
Yeah.
My plan was to throw my snowmobile in the back of my Super Duty and go do it. So.
See, I should have done something like that because we took our Mercedes a couple years ago, and I was riding with my wife obviously, and then there's other friends we had, and we went up to Lutsen area or whatever, and we followed Google, and I was with oh man, I'm blanking on
Fuck, it's another Android guy.
blanking on his.
He always likes to remind me when our guests have Android. He's like, oh, superior Android, whatever.
It's definitely superior. But yeah,
Definitely superior
yeah,
here.
it's fine.
Yeah, why don't you airdrop something to my MacBook over here? Let me know how that goes.
Oh yeah, well I don't need to do that.
No.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, anyways.
I'll send you a link. Andy from MN&I, he he has a G37 all-wheel drive. We both had great snow tires in the car, and Google ended up getting us down a snowmobile trail. I have never had such. I mean, I've driven in China and India and like Puerto Rico and other places and Japan, like some sketchy places, and I have never white knuckled it that bad. I mean, that freaking bad. Because I mean, if you're on a snowmobile trail and it's a legit road, right? But it ultimately is a snowmobile trail during the winter.
Yep.
So I mean, it's like a dirt road, and Google has it listed as a
Yeah,
fucking
they just don't
road.
plow it. They'll groom it for snowmobiles. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just snowmobiles during the winter. We didn't know that. We just went down the road and whatever. So we were driving 3 or 4 miles, couldn't turn around, had to go forward. This sucked. Luckily, I had the Hakkapelitas on the car, and it trucked through. Some snowmobiles came by, flicked us off because we were in the way. Like, sorry, dude, we're idiots. Nothing we could do. But there was so many times where I'm just like sliding. The weight of the car is taking us into the ditch, but we were able to get out, and it was terrible. But at the end of the day, it made a good story, and we had a good time. But I guess somebody had the year prior. Somebody had went down that trail, or one of those trails, not that specific trail perhaps, but went down one of those trails and got stuck. They had to call like a trail groomer and like a truck. I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars and we're talking like hours to be sitting there. So I'm glad we didn't get stuck, but it was an experience. Yeah. But if I had a snowmobile, it would have been a little bit better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. So if you had the chance, you should definitely go. And Haley's good people. So
We have several of our friends. Kenny and Gary ran that one this year.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Guys
Paul
from
Rohde,
Chicago.
Paul Rohde was on it with his daughter.
yeah,
So I wanted to go, but
well, next time you go, all right,
yep, sounds good.
all right, here we go. Knife hand, it's a sign.
Yeah. Something almost happens
gonna-
every single time.
What's that?
Just scheduling wise, something happens every single time. It's like, all right, we'll go do it. Because like tickets aren't that expensive either for that one.
No, they're cheap. I mean, and it's more a la carte, I think, but it's not like it's as paid for, for in regards to the like lunches and dinners.
Yeah, it was one that I was gonna bring my 2 oldest daughters on because
Yeah.
it was like I tell them all about this rally stuff. It's like my single most favorite thing to do with my car. So I was like, this would be a really good one to bring. It's more family friendly. Like it would be a good time. So that was the plan.
Yeah.
But we were actually, I remember now I had a cruise to Mexico. So that's where I was.
Yeah, he came back all nice and orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked like the seats.
That was speaking of that culture shock stuff. My wife and I got off of where were we? Mazatlan.
Okay.
I think it was Mazatlan, and instead of like going where the tourists go, we decided we're just gonna walk into town, sit down at a restaurant, and get some food.
Sure.
And I tell you what, I see people in this country here, and they come in, they barely speak the language, all this stuff. I have a whole nother level of respect for that now because I literally I had no freaking clue. They can't communicate with me. I can't communicate with them.
Yeah.
I just want to eat some food. Like it was like a whole thing that I've never had to experience before.
Well, us as Americans, we go out of the country, and you have the ability in many places to locate an English speaker,
Yeah.
or they have English menus or whatever.
They did, which I didn't know. They found a guy in the back. They brought him out, so we were able to translate eventually.
But imagine, like, on your point, right? Imagine that you are from wherever the hell, you can't read English, and nobody's. I mean, how many people do you know that speak Chinese? Besides people that are Chinese, how many people speak Bosnian besides Bosnian folks, or Japanese, or whatever language?
They're not going to walk into an Applebee's and find a guy in the back that speaks Chinese.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, to that point, like it definitely does give you that perspective. That's a good way to put it.
Food was delicious, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah, better have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing I like about traveling. In the military or when I was out of work. In work. Traveling all over countries. Traveling on somebody else's dime. I try to tell young folks, like, get in the military, go travel, eat food, do a job for a while that gets you out of the state. Get doing other things. Enjoy your young life where you can. Travel as much as you can because then it gives you perspective, right? Perspective on life.
Yep.
And how people live.
I wish you got around to me, because when you were trying to bark up my tree about that, I was already 3/4 the way through college. I was like, you know what, this is already done for. But if you find somebody on the young front, which by the way, college. I could have just ended up going into the trades and been a millionaire by now. But anyways, yeah, somebody young, like you said, it's like you got this like paycheck, steady paycheck, get all these extra benefits that, you know, come with it. And then, like you said, if you were to do it all over again, you would have spent your time and money investing as well. Did I get that
investing more earlier, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, everybody can always say hindsight's 20/20. I would have done this, would have done this. But yeah, of course, like if that was the case, then everybody would know. But I can only influence the future, right? I can't influence the past, but I can learn from the past, as we all know. So, you know, when I was mentioning earlier, like I'm a power lifter trainer at Crunch in Maple Grove, and I picked that up, you know, kind of because in real estate, you know, it fluctuates, it goes up and down. It's there's some times when it's not as busy as other times and whatnot. So, you know, I picked that up because it's an ultimate passion. You know how passionate I am about lifting and especially eating. So that's why I'm a power lifter, because I like to eat. But I also coach the trainers there. They're all young. I mean, they're like 20 years old kids. You know, they have no life experience, no work experience beyond, you know, their parents' house, and maybe some of them have varying degrees of like finances from their parents and then not so much. But I tell all of them, well, you should be doing this. You should be doing this. This is the stuff that I didn't do when I was young. Please do this. And I coach them on, you know, how to build plans for their clients and how to deal with difficult people and stuff like that. Because you just don't develop the social skills, kind of like, you know, what you're kind of learning with the podcast, right? I mean,
dude,
like your vocalization and your articulation has changed exponentially over the years.
Well, it's part of it. I literally describe it as learning how to talk.
Yeah.
Because like when I sometimes like listen to people that are 2, 3, 4 years younger than me, I'm like, oh, I remember when I was like that.
Or you didn't take social cues properly, stuff like that. You don't understand all that stuff, right?
Yeah. And you know, it's like maybe it's a little bit of an ego thing. I always thought that I was a little bit ahead of most people just because, like, I've been kind of talking for a living since I was 13, right? Whether it was, you know, creating content or, you know.
Well, you naturally talk a lot anyway.
What's that? Well, no, that did flip. That was not always the case. I was a super shy kid, actually.
Always listen. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other thing I've learned with this podcast, too, is, like, especially after, like, I don't know if you remember, a few months ago I posted on my Facebook. I'm like, hey, what's everybody's, like, favorite interviewer? You know, because, like, when you see, like, what was it? King, what, Larry King?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know why I struggle on the first name, but yeah, it's like one of the best interviewers of all time. And when he was on a interview, I want to say it was Conan or something. It's like, what makes for a good interview? It's like, just shut up and listen. That's basically what it is.
Well, you can learn something, and I tell my kids this, I tell everybody this, like in training or whatever it may be. If this comes up, I always say this: you can learn something from everybody. Yeah. And inherently, people want to talk. Inherently, people want to be heard. Like, you know, in relationships, you know, talk about like marriage relationships and stuff like that. A lot of communication breakdown happens because people aren't fucking heard, right? They aren't heard. Like,
or they don't.
Your
they
feelings,
feel like
your
they aren't
feelings
heard.
are,
Yeah.
or they're not.
Yeah.
Or in general. So if you're communicating that you're not being heard, then they're neglecting or whatever. So that can break down, not just marriages, but friendships or anything like that. So people want to be heard, and if you listen, you can get perspective, and that can give you a whole new idea on different things. So as I said, people want to be heard. So if you're listening to what people say and actually attempting to articulate it and assimilate it and put it somewhere in there and use it for future,
Actually process it.
Yeah, and it opens up a whole new way of just thinking and speaking to people.
The best thing you could ask somebody is, am I making sense to you? Do you understand?
Very good.
Because if you could
asking
take
for
a
feedback,
second,
right?
Yeah. Because like if you're just ranting, like you have to pause, be like, is this getting through to you? Because they've either checked out, or they aren't getting it.
You know, do the gloss over or whatever. You know,
all they're thinking about is what they're gonna say next,
or what food they're about to eat or something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the more difficult parts of doing this, though, is being able to listen, but also be like, all right, how do I follow this up? Like there's
something on cue,
which is hard, right? Because like in most conversations nowadays, is people are thinking, what am I gonna say next? Like they hear the first 3 words of like what you say, and then it's like, all right, well, they got to figure out how to respond to that first part, and you missed the 80% of the other conversation.
Yeah,
that's probably the hardest part about. And maybe you're getting this into your 20 episodes deep now, Dan. Deep, but it's like
it's been 20 episodes.
Yeah,
wow,
probably.
That's awesome.
So
I watch most or listen to most of them, you know, but I haven't. I guess I haven't been counting. That's awesome.
Yeah, because Sean left episode 45 was his last. That was with Travis Stewart. He gets mad when I fuck it up. And then I
Fuck
did
it up every time then.
And then we're doing a cool wrap for him because he's doing the rally. We're gonna
yes.
we're gonna do some really cool stuff with his car.
Nice.
His Viper.
Put a big boner on the side or
We'll do
something.
that. Yeah, we'll make it
you should.
happen.
Yeah,
And
I'll
then
appreciate that.
Dan came on episode 55 with Mike Johnson. So yeah, I did 9 episodes solo, and that was another learning experience. I'm like,
Yeah.
again, it's learning how to talk, and you being around. We're coming back to the training thing. It's like if you're trying to train other people, you also have to learn too.
You'll learn about different styles of people talking. I mean, I speak differently. Like, you may not have to drive the conversation nearly as much with me as other people. Or
Put a quarter in you.
Or yeah. Or you might have to keep me back on track more than other people. Like, I might, get off on a wild tangent about certain things. So everybody communicates differently. And yeah. But back to the car stuff.
Yeah.
We should go back to that.
We'll come back to that.
I was say, you've been doing a really good job of circling back, by the way. You'll go off on a little tangent, be like, okay, but the question you asked me was this. Yeah.
I try to do that because
Yeah.
I do ultimately want to get to it, but then there's like, well, there's this point here, there's this point here. Let's just grab all of them and put them in a basket.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
talk about
Well, it's
it.
your sales background, right?
Yeah,
That happens all the time
is.
in real estate,
yeah.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
Which, buy a house from him, guys. But one thing that you said earlier, something about difficult clients, by the way. I was just curious, just because in the back of my head, I know some people resonate with that because a lot of our listeners have businesses or work with clients or whatever. How do you train people to work with difficult clients, I suppose?
Oh, there's so many variables.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, at first I speak to the person about what is going on, and I just ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on, and then I throw out ideas. Have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this?
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about it from this perspective? Have you asked these questions? Whatever it may be. So I mean, it varies from situation to situation. No one person is the same via person dealing with a client or whatever. I mean, whether it's real estate clients. I mean, I coach younger agents and stuff like that. I coach people in personal how to speak for personal training purposes and whatnot. And it's no person's the same, so it always is a case by case basis. But there's usually a common theme, and it's usually listen, relax, don't shop with your own pocket, don't train with your own goals in mind. Listen to what they need. That's the biggest thing.
That's a big thing, goals. And that same thing, and the reason I asked that is because that can apply to everything. When you're let's say you bring a car here to Ratified, which you should. You want
Well, Brian May's here, so I have to.
Yeah. But it's like, that's one of the reasons that, when I started coming to Rat, when I met him a handful of years, because, Katie introduced me to Rat, because, like, fun fact, he lives 6 houses down from me. I never met him.
Yeah.
And she introduced me. And, what I like about their approach, especially Sam over at the Chaska location, is they're listening to, like, well, where's my budget at? In a fix or whatever. But it's like, what's the most logical approach we can take here to solve your problem instead of trying to upcharge, or maybe you should do this or whatever. But, like, if I wanted to say, like, hey, I want to make $550 to the wheel on my cute little Volkswagen, which I could. I'm not. But
Here's the roadmap to it.
here's the roadmap to it. Here's what we could do. Here's the logical ways to do it. Here's the dumb way to do it where you're going to spend a lot more money, which great for us. Or here's the way where, you're going to be happy with this trajectory. And that consultative approach, I think that's a word. I don't know. Whatever.
We'll go with that. If it isn't, it is now.
Yeah, whatever. We'll contact Oxford. But it's like, if you take that approach, it's a better experience for the owners involved and the end customer user, whatever.
Well, this is such a unique industry. I don't think I would ever want to be in any industry like this. I mean, helping people buy or sell a house, like, I'm not a salesperson. At the end of the day, I don't tell people.
You're a consultant, kind of?
I consult. Excuse me. I consult people. I protect them and their best interests. That's my job as a buyer's agent. As a seller's agent, it's marketing. More marketing, not necessarily sales. I'm not going to the buyer of a potential listing and saying, you need to buy this house and here's why. Yeah, of course I market it. I highlight the positives and stuff like that, but I'm not dealing with them. I'm dealing with their agent. And there goes the negotiations. Listening and manipulating that kind of stuff. Not manipulating in a bad way, but manipulating in good ways, of course. But this industry, fuck, man. I know, many owners of many different shops. You got Kevin, you got Seth, whatever. You got, obviously.
Well, you can throw a rock.
Yeah.
Rat says there's like 6 Euro shops around here.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't, the big ones that I know is Kevin Tan and then, Seth over at Eurotech and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then I don't know Rat very well, but, we've been around and passing for a while. And especially if I had an Audi, I know that he would be the one that I would go to, especially for modifications and whatnot. But now that he's getting into other things, it's definitely a good option. I know Mola doesn't do a ton of the aftermarket stuff. They do more bread and butter, especially Porsches and whatnot.
Yeah.
More bread and butters like maintenance and stuff.
Yeah.
That. Same thing with Eurotech. Like love Seth, intelligent dude. He's actually a BMW trainer, like Master Tech trainer, so he knows his shit. But he runs a different style of business. He's not into the performance and modifications and stuff like that.
It's the stuff that keeps the lights on. I mean, usually
the bread and butter, right?
Yeah.
The oil changes, that kind of stuff. That pays the bills. And then so like shops like this, I'm sure Rat does. I would assume, oil changes and stuff.
Oh, that's
right.
And that a lot of that. And that I really should redo the ad at some point. I told him I would. But yeah, the whole oil change, the bread and butter stuff. Like come here and get your whatever done.
You should.
It's not just a performance shop. I'd argue it's probably about 50-50.
Yeah, but he does more of that than more other shops do. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's
Ebbs
known
and
for
flows.
it too, right?
Yeah, because like AJ, up the street as well. He kind of goes towards literally mile and a half that way, I think.
Yeah.
I've literally took his, because like he uses Rat's dyno time to time. He had his M3 over here. Mm-hmm. I drove it over for him. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it for free.
Sure. Oh, darn.
I wish I stepped on it, but again, not a long enough drive. Because it was like a tuned up new G80.
Yeah, it's not warm and it's not your car. And
exactly.
It's cold. Yeah, I get it.
If I could afford it, I'd be like, all right, we'll risk it. But
self-insure.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, a lot of the guys, especially through recent economic everything, a lot of people are trying to do that bread and butter stuff.
Well, they should. I mean, you got to pay the bill somehow.
Exactly.
With like same thing with me in real estate. It's like I don't get paid unless I close. Like so.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people. They ask me advice. They do this, and then they go off with somebody else. It's like, well, that sucks. People don't realize that. He probably gets the same kind of shit. Like, hey, what do you think about my broken car? I'm a garage mechanic. Blah blah blah. And
tire kickers and all that.
Yeah, and then he's like, he gives them advice. He spends 20 minutes giving them advice, whatever, walking them through so that they can go fuck it up and then send it someplace else. That just sucks. I mean, that really just sucks.
It adds up too, by the way.
Especially. I mean, he's dealing with this kind of industry. He's dealing with way more clients, more volume. Right, than I am. He's dealing with way other people, way different, like broad spectrum of people. Where for me in my business, it is when we're just talking strictly the real estate side. With me and that is like all of my stuff is referral based, and people that want to work with me. I for me with like difficult clients, like I fired clients in the past before. But those are generally clients that like we don't have a connection with. We have a connection. Like you want to work with me because you trust me, you know me, and you know that I'm gonna do right by your best interests. And I want to work with you because you're a cool dude, or whatever. I know that we're gonna get along. I know it's gonna be a good process for everybody. I know you're gonna stab me in the back. There's a lot of snakes in the grass, and here I can only imagine the stress that these kind of guys go through.
Well, like you said, volume, right? Like think about it. Like what's the cheapest house that you've sold? Maybe 200,000?
99,000 was the cheapest condo I've sold.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the cheapest bill that you can get on a car here? It's like, you can spend $1,000, $2,000.
Yeah, so your margins
you
are
could probably spend 99,000, 99,000 too if you
Dude,
want.
if I spend 99,000 on that Volkswagen, just know that other things are wrong.
Yeah, the finances are a little different. I mean, you get people that can plop down, like you talk about Mueller and the Nth Moto folks and whatnot, and or the folks
when you get into that 2,000 horsepower range, the 6-digit builds, all that. Yeah.
Ugh. But again, like that's all relative, right? Relative to their finances versus this,
Right.
Where you talk about like Bill Gates dropping a $20 bill, or a $100 bill, he ain't gonna pick it up, right?
No.
It's like, why? Like my time's worth more than that.
But the wind.
Yeah. Okay.
Wind's cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's all relative.
Exactly.
But as I said, like the volume of people that these guys deal with is just like it's way higher. And I've heard about it, from multiple different shop owners and stuff like that. You just got to keep that kind of stuff in mind. Ultimately, the car community here is small, and you burn bridges. I see that all the time. I know a bunch of mechanics at different shops. Mo's mechanics and Mo himself and all those people. I know some of the Eurocharge guys. I know AJ, of course. And people burn bridges left and right all over the place. It's like, for what though? For what?
The way somebody described it to me is that Minneapolis and this whole metro is the biggest small city.
especially in the car community.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, it gets around real quick.
Yeah, it's a good community, but I mean, there's cliques and stuff like that. You know, and it is what it is. And I've been a part of that kind of negativity, you know, as well, because you're around it, you know, you get it through osmosis, and it bleeds into you. And,
it happens. It's hard to avoid.
You have your opinions and stuff like that, and it's stuff that I attempt to avoid. You know, in the last year or two, I've kind of taken a breather from most of the car stuff, just because I just need to decompress from some of it. I've been around the community for such a fucking long time. At least it feels like a long time.
Oh, it's a long time. I mean, you've been in the community since I was in Spanish 1. So
yeah, I mean, it's been a while, you know, and running, like, going back to that BMW group, it's a lot of work. Like, it really is. And if people don't show up, and it's like you just wasted all that time, it's like, why do you want to keep doing it? Whatever. But I don't know, man. It's difficult either way. I guess I don't know where I was going with that, but
no, I mean, like, for me, it's like, especially given my position now, it's like everybody wants me to run various events. That's why I only do a select handful. I'm doing the track day with the performance driving school at Brainerd. Buy tickets.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. I'm really excited for that. So that one's a collaboration kind of between me and Razahood and the performance driving school.
How'd that come about?
So Michael Peterson, who we've had on the podcast, I want to say 3 times now. So he's actually an instructor over at Brainerd. I think he took last year off, but he does some training over there. Got into contact with the guy who's running the program now, Joe, whatever. I can't remember his last name at the moment. But nonetheless, it's kind of like a collaboration. So we can kind of get a discount going through Razahood or Monoxide. I think it's $400 for the whole day. You get an instructor, then basically the second half of the day is kind of
$400. Yeah. So you get the instructor and you get a whole day of track time. How many? What is it cap to?
They basically said we'll cross that bridge when you get there, but I think 75 would be like an absolute cutoff.
Sure. I've done a couple track days where they have, you know, similar situation, you know, performance driving or whatever the hell it is. This was back when I first had my BMW. I was traveling and whatnot. I remember I drove up. I signed up for a track day. This was with MN-ENS, the supercar group. This is when Amola and the ENS guys were still friends or whatever the hell happened there. I don't know. But we went up. I had my BMW. I had another buddy of mine bring up his SL65 AMG or something like that. At the time, it was new. You know, it was cool. He was going to track it. I don't know why he was going to track it, but he was deciding to do that. Tony Oscui, that's when I drove his GTR, because on the fucking way up there, I hit a dead deer in the BMW.
Oh.
Yeah, ripped off my oil pan and all this bullshit. Eventually, Amola ended up getting it fixed, but I couldn't track the car. I had paid for a track day and was up there, and I went to the class and stuff like that. Couldn't do it, and that's when Tony was like, "Here you go, drive my GTR." I got to drive his GTR and whatnot. Had a good time, and I was kind of poking at Kevin. I was like, let me drive one of those cup cars, one of those Porsche cup cars. But I'd never driven one before. He's like, I don't know. So he didn't let me do it, but he did. He did hook me up. He did put my BMW in the trailer and drove it down to Amola. So I didn't have
with all the deer guts.
Yeah, he bitched at me the next day. He texted me. He's like, "Dude, my trailer smells like shit." I'm like, "My bad," but thank you. But that was cool. It was still a good experience. It sucked, but it turned out okay.
Yeah,
but it's something like that, right? Like the track day you go, you learn and whatnot.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. I'm not sure. They're going to bring a good bit of instructors up there. Basically, it's like, the more people they get, the more instructors they can call on. And it's also on a Monday, right? You have to remember that Brainerd, they leave their weekends for private rentals. And any track does that.
Yeah, I think that was a Monday as well.
Yeah, so all their driving schools are on a Monday, but we're collaborating on this specific Monday on May 20th or whatever. So I think it's like a 12.5%.
It's the Monday after Power Cruise 1. So if you're already at Power Cruise and you want to hone your skills and you want to stay for an extra day, sign up.
I think that everybody should do it.
Yeah, I've been on 4 or 5 different tracks. Yeah. I'm excited to see how bad I've been doing.
Oh, have you done the Brainerd?
I have never done a performance driving school. But
so is it the full track, do you know?
No, I don't believe so.
Short track?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the preference that Michael Peterson had, is the short track, is because the way he explained it to me is that the preference for the longer one is, when you want to swing a big number going down the long straight. But this is more technical and just a little less scary for the instructors, from what it sounds like.
Yeah, I can get that. Yeah, I can dig it. Are they gonna do allow people to rent the Radicals?
That was an option in the thing. Bring your own car or whatever.
Yeah, so
so
definitely should put that more into the whatever advertising you guys are doing.
I'll have to talk to them
and
about
whatnot.
that.
Yeah, because that's an experience in itself if you can take a Radical.
Do you know which Radical it is by chance off the side of your head?
No, I mean, you can ask Sajadi. I think he's doing stuff with those.
Yeah, he
folks
wants to
up
do
there.
some coaching up there too.
Yeah. So, and then maybe Darren. He's he actually owns a Radical.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the last time I knew, the only thing I know about them is they're red. That's
Yeah.
the last thing I know.
they look like go-karts to me when I look at the
they're
picture.
cool.
Yeah.
One of my buddies who now has moved out of state, Derek Wagner. He used to be Mike Wagner. Derek is his son. Mike Wagner used to be an instructor up there, and he took me around and whatnot in the GTR, taught me how to drive, grab the wheel, and slow down, or like brakes now, and then go, and brakes and no, whatever. But he was an instructor up there, and he also builds simulators. So
okay, cool.
Sims by Racers is his thing, and he has a warehouse down in like Chaska or whatever, and he builds these custom iRacer sims. And he has 3D printers and everything down there for this stuff, and he builds these high end equipment, from the graphics card systems to the chair to the. He uses all the.
Have you driven one before?
What's that?
A sim?
Yeah, he had me to his house a couple times.
Okay.
Drove on his sim, and I drove a Radical in the sim.
Yeah.
And
Not easy.
I sucked. I was terrible.
Everybody does their first time.
Oh boy, was I bad. Jesse Lawrence and I went down there. This was 2015, I think, at the time. 2016. Yeah.
It's a very different type of sim too.
Yeah. It still was. It was full screen, everything. Like, it wasn't as graphical.
Certainly wasn't cheap.
No. He was the one that he had at his house specifically. He's like, yes, if I was going to sell it, it'd be like $15,000.
Yeah.
Something like that. So, and that's about what they are now. The ones that he sells, the one that he builds custom.
You have to try ours when you come over next.
I'd love to. I'd still suck at it. I'm not I'm a good driver, but I am not a wonderful driver. I've done a couple of those performance track days and stuff like that. I actually got a buddy who I'm going to connect you with.
Okay.
Name's Dan Godar. He's a film producer, or not a film producer, but he's a camera operator. And he recently bought a crane car.
Oh, okay.
So he bought an Audi SUV, like an S, whatever the hell it is, the SUV, with a big crane on it. And he's like, "Do you want to be a driver for this?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I do," because he knows that I track cars and I know stuff about vehicles, and I'm gonna help him modify it. And Sunlifter Films, I think, is his moniker for that. But he wants me to, do some of the driving, especially if it's local here, and maybe we'll fly out eventually and do some other stuff. But he's been on Fast and the Furious, like camera operating for Fast and the Furious. He's been on Transformers, a plethora of other, Star Trek. Like, damn you, I got to meet some of those guys. Big nerd. So I gotta say that he's my neighbor. I actually just went to school with him too back in the day. And he bought this crane car, and I got to drive it. I was like, this thing's cool. He's like, yeah, you can be my driver. One of my drivers. Like, sold.
Yeah,
so let's do it. So I'll get to hone my driving, but I'm going to definitely do that driver's the performance driving school.
Yeah, if you can make it up. The way that
when is it? Remember?
May 20th.
May 20th.
Because
is that during our Friends Rally Doohickey thing?
I haven't been paying attention to that one.
I have to look at that. Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think it's an issue.
If it overlaps, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Be in Canada or whatever. But if it does not overlap, I will be there.
Yeah,
especially $400. Last time I did was like $500, I think it was. So.
Yeah, it's difficult, right? Because if you look at other tracks, various other tracks might have different pricing or whatever, but it's not operationally cheap. Because you have to think about it. Like, to get an instructor, who do you get as an instructor? You need somebody who, one, has time and can ultimately just make that trek up there. Mm-hmm. That's the big thing. But you need somebody who has skills, which is, point number 2. And then third thing is they have to be able to teach.
Yeah.
So you have these 3 different things, and it's usually somebody that's like, you're not going to have me instructing up there. I fucking hope not.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm a decent driver, but we'll find out at this track day. Because I've only done 2 track
You're not
days.
a decent driver.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you that right out. Like, same mindset. Like,
you get in there, you think
I
you're
get
gonna
in
be
there,
amazing.
and I mean, Mike's a wonderful driver as far as I know, and I know his son does like actual like some sort of BMW racing or whatever, like actually on a track. I don't know how good he is. I think he's pretty good. But he's got a bona fide race car. You know, he's got Mike was an actual trainer there, and I mean, I don't push a car. I have no idea. But what I wanted to do was, the reason why I did that is because I wanted to drive my BMW up there, and I wanted an instructor to drive my car on that track, because that's what they do consistently. They know the turns, they know everything. Yep. Once they drive my car a couple times around and they get dialed in, you know, they seat of their pants, so they get connected to the car, then they can push it. Like, push this thing. I want to know what it can do, because I don't. Like, I will never drive the Noble to its maximum potential. There's no freaking way. I don't want to know the time, and the motivation, the money to spend on all the tires and all the track days. Yeah, especially that. Like, I mean, I can afford to buy another Noble if I wanted to, but I don't.
You'll never get to the ragged edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, and I'm not even sure what or if I'll drive up there, because we're going to do a lot of filming. You know, that's one of the things, is we're going to do some podcasts like before and after up there.
I'll see if Dan can come up with his crane car.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
let me talk to him.
It'd be a pro bono thing, but most likely
I'll be the driver of the car.
Yeah,
there we go.
That'd be cool to see.
Just borrow the crane car. Be like, we don't need it.
He'll come up. He actually hit me up. It was last year. He's like, hey, you know, you got some of your car buddies that'll do some rolling shots.
Is that the guy that did the drone stuff?
Oh, he's done drone stuff.
Not a drone video with you and the other 5 cars, or is that somebody else?
That was that Matty J Films or something. Okay. I don't know. I think
that was an insane video.
That was pretty interesting. That was Fasale. If I'm saying his name right, I'm sorry, it's wrong, but super cool dude. He hit me up. He's like, hey, I got this dude that wants to do these, like, this, you know, commercial thing. We got Dayton Road shut down or whatever. I'm like, that's right by my house. Like, of course I'll go. So I got my neighbor Andy with his Aston. You know, he came down too, and there was a couple other people that, you know, came out with their cars. It
was cool.
Porsches and stuff like that. You were there, right?
No,
you weren't there.
I didn't make that one, unfortunately.
Well, Dan didn't. He wasn't a part of it, but he did show up to kind of like flex his muscles as far as like his equipment is concerned. He's got some good equipment. I mean, we're talking some.
Yeah, I'm such a small fish in this game compared to some of those guys, dude. Like, especially like, you know, when I compare equipment with Golden Peaks, you know, measuring stick, it's very, very different.
Golden Peaks has got some good stuff. I mean, they got that stick-on, you know, crane car and stuff like that. But this is a bona fide crane car, and Dan's like. His equipment. He works on legit movies, legit movies. And I remember Jacob when he was a film student, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So he was a film student. He approached me. He's a BMW guy. I don't remember what kind of car he had, but he was doing a Generations film for BMWs, and he approached me because I was the one running them in BMW at the time, and he asked, you know, for some connections and got him hooked up, and then I got him into MNENS as well. He did some little 2015 videos of MN BMWs. Like, we did an Oktoberfest cruise, and he was there doing some films and stuff like that. It was kind of fun. And then had him come along on an MNENS cruise, and you know, he met some of the folks there, and he just kept networking. And I'm really proud of the kid. I mean, he's dude now, and he was a kid to me at the time, but really proud of him. He's really come a long way. He's networked himself well. He's very articulate, but yeah, he's got a pretty cool setup. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's I want to say 3 or 4 years older than me.
Yeah,
so not much older than me.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool because like I think I'm going a little bit of a different route than he is, but for a while I was kind of in his footsteps a little bit. I feel like a lot of our media, like Jason Chun from Chun Media, we might have him on at some point too. But yeah, he's kind of. I was telling him, I'm like, man, you're only like 19. Like in Son of Stories, you want to tell you can't yet because you're under contract. I'm like, you're gonna have to wait. Sorry, I want to make you wait, dude.
Well, and speaking of like your development too, I mean, I remember you've come a long way in the last, you know, what's been 5-ish years. I mean,
Monoxide came into existence April 28th, 2018. Mm-hmm. That was supposed to be a placeholder name.
And that was when we met, essentially.
We met later that summer, I believe, at a Cars and Coffee, and you were intimidating.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You got a self-described resting bitch face. Or at least at the time.
Yeah. I've been told that. Yeah, I mean, I part of the reason why I wear a hat too is because I'm always like, I have very sensitive eyes to light, so I
frowny
scowl all the time. So I look like a dick. Yeah. So like I'm always like this, and I've actually made a point to try to like not make my mouth so
Frowny.
you know,
learn how to lift your lips up.
angry cat face or whatever. So yeah, I try, but
Dude, I've explained it to people, like, man, like, you are, sorry if this is buttering ass, but you're a team player. Like, you will put somebody in front of somebody. Like you said earlier, it's like, I'll connect you with this guy.
I would much rather. I love making connections
Yeah.
for people because I mean, I get a minor thanks. Like sure, like sometimes I don't even get that, but it's fun to watch two people that I can see like this piece of this puzzle is missing for both, and then you do this.
Yeah.
And then you
Playing
watch it
matchmaker or
blossom.
hitch. Yeah.
Yeah, you just watch it blossom. It's so cool to see it. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Play
But
Cupid a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, I like it. You know that matchmaker stuff it is fun for me. I mean, I enjoy it, and I enjoy watching people succeed at the end of the day. You know, I had a speaking of Brad Schmidt, kind of circling back to this guy. He
This is the guy that you beat in the...
smoked.
Yeah, smoked. Yeah.
Just smoked. He's a good dude. He's kind of out of the car community now. He sold his McLaren, then he bought his ZR1, sold that. He's more in the investing side, you know, properties and stuff like that. We work hand in hand with some stuff. You know, we send some deals back and forth. He knows he used to be a realtor. He does other real estate stuff as well. He's got other friends that are realtors, but recently he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, I need you to write a purchase agreement for me." I was like, "What?" Okay, fine. So I did. I'm gonna make some money. But his quote that he said to me was if somebody's going to make some money or if somebody's going to eat, I'm going to make sure my friends are eating, right? So, and that's what that resonated a lot to me. You know, like as a realtor, I will advise people to seek, you know, multiple different lenders and say, you know, see this person, see this person, see this person. This person's good with this person's a veteran, this person's this, whatever, and kind of, you know, apply. But I have to give, legally, I kind of have to give, for liability purposes, multiple different recommendations, because then if you have a bad experience with this one lender, you can kind of come back on me, right? But I'm like, hey, I gave you 3, I gave you 4, so you can't come to me and give me some guff or whatever. It's easier to fight in court, which should never ever happen. Of course, I've never been to court, you know, knock on wood again, for real estate, but the whole point is, like, I refer him some stuff and whatnot. So he kind of did the same thing for me. You know, it's like, but he's like, this other agent was like, yeah, I don't want you to be self-represented or whatever. He's like, why? And he couldn't give an answer. So he's like, well, fuck it. Fine. I'll just pay the commission to somebody. And if somebody's going to eat, it's not going to be your dude. It's going to be my friend. So, or somebody I know, my circle eats. So that quote resonated with me, so I'm gonna let him know that I shouted him out for that.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing about, like, you know, when we do these podcasts is a lot, especially when you share it on, like, your page, like, people, like, your friends will be like, all right, I wonder what he fucking said about me, you know?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. Well, I have a lot of bad things to say, but I mean, I think you've heard me over the years. There has been things that I do say in a negative manner because it's my perception, but sometimes. Most of the time, I should say, I generally go, but they're a good person at heart.
It's overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, usually it is. I mean, there's a couple folks that I have negative thoughts on, and
Everybody does.
I try to avoid, you know, speaking negatively about people, but I know for a fact there's plenty of people that have negative viewpoints of me, and I wish they didn't, but if they do, that's
Great, which brings us to our next point. All right, let's talk about Jeff.
Let's do it. If you have any questions or
Intervention time.
anything
I've seen some of your rants. You're usually not too wrong. Or wrong at all.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I have a plaque from the military, and it was like when I left a unit, and it was Corporal Storms, Corporal I'm always right Storms. I literally got a shirt that says, "I am never wrong. I just explain why I'm right," or something like that. And I have that shirt someplace.
I remember that one. I feel like I've seen that one before.
Yeah, you definitely have. Yeah. No, I mean, I try to articulate myself, but I also want to listen. You know, if and this goes out to the world, that if somebody does have a negative viewpoint about me and whatnot, get to know me. Just talk to me. You know, I'm not scary. You fucking broke the ice, and here we are. You know, now we're buds, and you know, we try to throw each other business and stuff like that. I might look intimidating, but I guarantee that I'm not. You know.
Yeah, I think that's just how it is. Yeah, I think you've given a lot of advice to a lot of people over the years, and I again, in my short period that I've been in this car community, I've learned, like, whenever I say, like, most of my friends are older than me, you're the first one that pops into my head. Let's just put it that way.
Sure.
And that's in a good way. Like,
Well, I've known you probably longer than more of the older folks that you have started to been around. But you built your social network here.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It's super. I like this podcast because a lot of random people reach out to me that I never would have ever talked to, or at least for, like, not another decade.
Yeah.
So it's kind of streamlined that process of just learning from the older guys.
Well, you never know, like you guys said too, you can learn from everybody, right? So even if somebody appears to be an asshole, you never know what you could hit it off on.
Right.
I mean, what the worst case scenario, they're an asshole and you go, well, that sucks, and you walk away.
Yeah.
It's not really...
Make your first-hand judgment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes, because you hear a lot of negative things about some person because they did something to somebody, but it's like, well, they didn't do anything negative to me. I'll give anybody a chance. Like, I have some negative viewpoints about some people in the car community, but they're valid, at least to my own opinion. But I would never try to sway you from being friends, or especially if you're going to make money, if you have a business partnership. Like, never, ever do that.
Yeah.
And I'll always be cordial. There's people that I see that I don't particularly care for. Look them in the eye and be like, how's it going? Awesome. And then be like, back to my business. I don't need to fight. Don't need to do any of that bullshit. Don't need to yell and scream. I know I can, but I don't need to.
I can tell when I'm trying to get swayed too. Like, I sometimes I'll have people even message me like, oh yeah, that was cool. But man, that guy, and it's just like, I will make my own judgment. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
If it burns me, that's fine. But let me go, because especially being a neutral party or trying to be a neutral party in the car community, fuck takeovers. But it's like beyond.
We can all hate on them.
Yeah, that's a whole nother level of stuff. Yeah.
Dude, I remember when I had Trey on for his first time on the podcast. He what's it called? Was talking shit about takeovers, and I made a highlight of it, and the comments went berserk. Let us have our fun, man.
That's what you need, though. Yeah, I mean, like anything in social media or the media in general, anything, controversial topics and stuff like that.
To a degree, I like the slow and steady growth, though.
Sure,
because I can't.
I'm just meant for like viral instances.
Yeah.
You get.
Well, your Noble went viral. Remember that?
Oh yeah, we got some millions of views on that funny speed bump one. That was before I raised the car back up.
Yeah, that was like 4 or 6 million views, and all the comments. Well, you were fighting with half the people in the comments, which was really funny.
Just trolling them. I didn't give a shit.
Because a lot of people well, you bring it up. What were some of the things that you saw the most? The taillights.
Oh yeah, people. It's not a supercar. All right, whatever.
Why is it not a supercar, Jeff?
I think it's super, but it's not a supercar. But I mean,
where does that definition, like, where's the line in the sand, though?
Define it for me.
Yeah.
Right? Burden of proof is in the accuser. So you're going to accuse me that it's not a supercar? Fucking you tell me, homie. Like, I don't give a shit. It's a supercar. It's super to me.
Yeah.
I like it. It's not exotic. Well, it's pretty fucking rare. So what is it?
Yeah.
It's a rare sports car.
European. It's mid rear engine.
Yeah.
Like, where are we getting? Like, where do you draw the line?
It's got Honda contour parts.
Shit.
Yeah.
The Ford GT, I think, has a side marker light that's the same as a Ford freaking Fiesta.
The Lamborghini Diablo has 300ZX headlights.
Yeah.
They use parts from different manufacturers to save on engineering costs. It's logical.
And the Noble, what did it beat a Murcielago or a Gallardo? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's 0 to 60 in like 3.3 seconds. So I mean, it was faster than Lamborghinis and Ferraris of its time, by far. I mean, it smoked it.
What was the Clarkson quote? Do you remember what it was?
There is a. I made a stitch of it, but it's one of his favorite cars, at least from when he initially drove it on like the Top Gear. You should pull it up, at some point, and maybe put it on your podcast.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Find that clip that he was driving it, because it literally. And here's the thing: as long as somebody in the car community has has experience with cars and are careful, I'll let anybody drive it. Like, you don't want to drive the fucking Noble, I'll let you drive the Noble.
Let's give me some more practice in the manual first.
I
only drive it.
I might take you up on it next time I see it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we'll go for a spin, and then I'll show you a couple things on how it's done. And I mean, it's a fucking car at the end of the day.
I'll get the contour fixed up. I'll bring it and we'll swap.
Let's do it. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, actually one of my good friends had a Contour from back in the day, and it was a S4 Contour SVT. It's super, super cool car.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, is it in good shape?
It's in rough shape.
Body?
No, I bought a bunch of parts when I was in Texas. The kid that had it, he beat the living hell out of it.
Yeah,
The good thing about it, it's only got 90,000 miles on it, and it's no rust on it. It was in a shipping container for like a long time, just sitting.
But it's fixable.
Yes. And I have most of the body parts now collected.
What color is it?
Silver.
Ah, damn! I was hoping it was that red.
Yeah, it was too. Yeah.
But those are super cool. I mean, those cars from back in the day. I mean, those were the cars growing up when I was younger, like that I couldn't necessarily obtain because at that time, and I got my license. How old was I? I was 16, so that was in 90. Yeah, shut your mouth.
I got mine in 1998, I believe, and I'm 41. I'm 41.
Yeah, me as well. Yeah, I mean, I got like 98, 99. So, and the SVT, the Contour SVT came out, in 96 or 7, something like that?
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, the fastest, cool sedan you can get was, like, if you were rich, like a Taurus SHO, like, the manual versions or, like, the early 90s ones.
Yep.
The coolest car I had when I was younger, the first car I had was a Saturn SL2 manual. It was cool. And then I had a Bonneville SSEI, that 3800.
Ooh, those were cool.
Yeah,
I'm not a Chevy guy, but those were, yeah.
Oh, that's the Pontiac, the version.
Yeah, but they're made by GM. But it's the 3.8 supercharged, I think.
Yes. Yes. This is just a floaty boat thing, supercharged. It's just a terrible car. And I've done stuff while I was driving in that car that I probably shouldn't have done. My wife isn't listening to that. But she'll be like, whatever. She knows I was a Marine, so it's fine. I had that car, and then the coolest car that I bought was an 89 Ford Probe GT.
Yeah.
Turbo 4-cylinder manual, froze to the tires, left
pop-up
and right.
headlights.
Had Bondo on the side of it because it had some accident. I bought it for like $800, and it was such a cool car. And I would love to have another one. Can't find it though. It's like that Contour. Like I've looked in like the last 5 years for some of those older nostalgic cars. One of the other cars that I really wanted when I was younger was like the Chevy Lumina Z34.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a Z26 Beretta with the quad 4 and a 5-speed.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Or the Beretta Indy, right?
So one of my first cars was a 1990 Indianapolis 500 Beretta.
Was it green or was it yellow?
Mine was the teal.
The teal?
Yeah, so it was teal and yellow. Yep.
With the little fucking
It had the pink, like, neon
shit
pink
on the side.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a Beretta Indy.
I've been trying to find one in good condition, and it is impossible to find because they're rare, but they're not a collector car, right? So
they're still cheap if you find one. It'd be like $10,000, if that, right?
Yeah.
With good condition.
Yeah, I've seen them at $10,000. I still am hard to get myself to spend $10,000 on a Beretta. Yeah, but yeah.
Or just an older car like that in general that's never going to be worth. I mean, it'll track with inflation most likely, or be close to inflation, but it's not. It's not an investment.
It wasn't collector enough for me to want to do it as an investment. But yeah.
Well, the SVT also. I mean, that's another one of those cool cars.
That one was cool. Yeah, I picked that car up for $900 or something though, so it was like that was a no-brainer.
Oh hell yeah. And you like to tinker, right? So there you go. The other cool car I had that was similar to that style and era was a Dodge Duster. A little Duster with a little bump on the hood, a little 3-liter, a little shitty ass V6 3-liter. It was not very powerful, but it was super, super compact, like kind of like the 1 Series, And I was trying to convince you about the 1 Series. It's compact, it's weird looking. People didn't really like it when it first came out, but like eventually it started to be kind of like like people really realized that it was a really good car. That Duster, super compact, like it looked like a clown car. It's almost looked like somebody took a Beretta and went like this.
They did little turbo versions or like supercharged versions of those. I know Shelby did some stuff with Dodge in those days too, but I don't know if he ever did a Duster. But
they had that Plymouth and the Dodge, like the
Daytonas, I think, were a hatchback.
Yeah. Those are interesting cars. Yeah, but the Eclipses, the early Eclipses. The first gen Eclipse, those things were big in my high school, and then the 3000 GTs. And stuff like that. The rich kids had a 3000 GTs.
There was a rich kid in our school that wrecked his and had another one within like a week.
Man,
almost killed some of the other kids in school too.
Man, holy shit. We had one that didn't wreck it. his daddy bought it for him, mommy bought it. Good for them. No negativity there. I'm going to stop there. Just to say everybody's dealt different hands in life.
Absolutely.
Right? And it doesn't fucking matter if daddy buys a car, or mommy buys it. Who gives a shit? Just enjoy it. Let them do their thing.
I'm going to take a second to support the home team. Many of you know the podcast is based out of Ratified Motorsports, who makes some of the sickest builds out here. That dyno you all hear downstairs has seen some serious cars. Whether you're looking for a standard tune for your cute little Volkswagen to a full-on Supra or RS3 build, you should give Ratified a call to get the sauce. Check out ratifiedmotorsport.com/performance to see what they can do for you. Let's get back to the show.
But when you're a poor kid driving a rusty shitbox, you just,
you look up.
Doesn't hit right. Yeah.
You look up and you're like, damn you. But you have to remember, at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's no point in dwelling on what you can't control.
Absolutely.
Put your head down and work harder. And then, so this kid had a 3000 GT, super cool, bright blue, laser blue, whatever it is, chrome wheels, super cool. Got all the chicks. And then this other kid in the neighborhood behind me, the neighborhood behind me was like upper class, right? We were middle, whatever, nice. Yeah. And his parents had a Humvee, an H1, like a nice one, and they had a Dodge Viper, the first gen Dodge Viper.
Oh, hell
This kid every Friday would come to school with a Dodge Viper as a high school kid. Yep, that was pretty cool. I was a friend. He was like a year or two older than me. I was a friend with him, but I still remember that. Now I have the Noble. So dropping my kids off at school and whatnot. Oh, even in the BMW, like I get looks. In the Jag with all the stickers, like the kids love that thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the Noble definitely. No. JJ likes it because he's 10. He's my son, so he's just like, I like cars, Dad. When you take the Noble, pick me up with the Noble. Let's drive. When are we gonna take the BMW? It's super fast. Actually, the BMW is just a smidge faster than the Noble, if it can hook. That's the problem. The BMW doesn't have good traction because it's, again, that short wheelbase and skinny ass tires, and it just with the power. So in rolling race, it would walk away from the Noble. We'll change that. Yeah, they love it. So my kids, once they get old enough, I'll let them take the Noble once they get responsible enough, if they are responsible enough to take the Noble to school.
My brother's had that luxury.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, your dad's a good dude, and he I can't say so much about you, but definitely your brother. He grew up okay. Probably responsible. Totally kidding, of course.
Completely opposite, by the way.
I've seen you show up in the AMGs at places,
yeah.
but maybe your dad doesn't know that you were in it, but
Well, no,
to school. Okay,
to school, because I since graduated, and obviously the socioeconomic status changes over time. So
he does the dealership stuff, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and my brother's almost 6 years younger than me, so he gets it's just part of it as you get older.
Is what it is.
Thank you, Dan, for hosting our first segment of Memory Lane.
Yeah.
We could get you a podcast of all you.
No, you get us 40-year-olds together. We're gonna get nostalgia about the 80s and 90s cars, man.
Yeah. It's so fun because sitting in this seat, like when I see it happen, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna watch fucking this. All right, all these cars that were made before I even existed.
I mean, let's be honest. You and I have been kind of reminiscing about some of our past. So of course, I had to level with you. You talking about the Contour. I had to talk about that.
What's the best part about having a co-host? Like Dan and I have, like we were talking about this. Especially if this AMS thing ends up happening for me.
Tell me about that real quick. Sorry.
So basically, AMS has this position. They're looking for like a marketing specialist down in Chicago. AMS Performance makes the fastest Lamborghini Huracan in the world. It's the first Huracan in the 6s.
I know all about AMS.
Okay.
But
but basically, I just saw the position. I thought I'd be a decent fit. I could still keep doing everything I'm doing. The only I don't want to say downside. The only catch is going to move to Chicago, which I'm completely open to if everything lines up. So we'll see what happens. Mo, Boost of Minneapolis, he knows the guy that's that put out that what's it called for hire ad, whatever it was. He spent all of Texas 2K with the guy, so he gave me a nice little referral. But he's like, yeah, man, don't get your hopes up. I'm like, I wasn't even going to apply until you told me to, dude. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, it's just one of those like opportunities I would kick myself for if I didn't at least apply for.
Well, it's something that you could definitely get industry experience with. You can still do podcast stuff.
Easy. I'd be up here once a month.
Yeah.
Keep him as a co-host. No problem.
I mean, you easily could do that. I mean, and at the end of the day, like, you're not... I don't know how. I mean, you could probably answer this. How often does Joe Rogan do podcasts?
2 to 3 a week. But the thing is, like, he might do them all in one day. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
my point being, though, it's like nothing would have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
The only thing is
It compounds, right?
It compounds.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, it makes sense to do it if it lines up financially. Mm-hmm. That's it. So we'll see. We'll see if it doesn't happen. Whatever, I'm doing fine. If it happens, great. But yeah, like Mo said, don't get your hopes up. I'm like, I literally told him the other day, I texted him, I'm like, you fucker, you're the most negative, positive person I've ever met. But I think the same way too.
Sure.
It's like, I can't remember if it was Socrates or whoever the fuck, but basically he has this one quote. He's like, he used to have this big, beautiful lamp. Amazing lamp or whatever, stupid, whatever, candles, whatever it was.
Sure.
And, one day it broke. He's like, well, but of course, because nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
In his head, when he got that stupid, expensive chandelier lamp, whatever it was, in his head it was already broken. He enjoyed it for what it was, but one day it'll be gone. So it's like you can't be upset, but at the same time, it's like enjoy it while it's there. That's a more positive way of saying like, hey, but don't get excited.
Sure. I can see what you're saying. I mean, I like that. I like that thought process of like, oh, it does. I mean, we can go down the rabbit hole of like
Life.
the universe and all that stuff. Oh my God, don't get me started on that kind of stuff.
But keeping the podcast going, no problem. Like I could find a spot down there, no problem. I have some connections in Chicago, courtesy of the Crown Rally people I met in 2018.
And then you also build more of a network, right?
Exactly.
And that's you. If this is something that you're going to want to continue to do, not just the podcast, but be involved in the automotive industry and community and build a professional life around it and whatnot, you have to network with those individuals, and these kind of podcasts can open up those doors.
The doors that this has opened up for me already is ridiculous. And some things, the thing is, not all seeds grow today. Mm-hmm. There's some things that, I can't predict. A lot of people are like, why would you do that stupid podcast? Like, you're still doing that?
It's unfortunate that they have to say that. They should be supporting you.
Are people saying that?
Oh, dude, you have to realize that
there's always naysayers. Right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because sometimes we're our own worst enemy of making stuff up. But on the flip side, I also do hear things. Things come back to me when you're as well connected as you and I are in the car community. Yep. But nonetheless, like I actually got an email for the first time of somebody saying like, "Hey man, podcast is amazing." I think the guy's name was Brian.
Do you got one of those cold?
Not cold. No, unfortunately.
We're not that bougie here.
Yeah. Actually, I stopped drinking the Jocos just to kind of wind down my caffeine a little bit because I was really stimmed out for a while.
Sure.
Like a year every day, 1 to 2 times a day plus a coffee. Like it was bad for a while.
Yeah.
But anyways, like my point being is like I saw the comments that I see, and more importantly, the comments that my guests get. My guests get way more feedback than I do, which is kind of funny. Sure. But like people just say the nicest things, and I'm just like, this is kind of cool. Like seeing where this is going. Like people I've never heard of in my life.
Where are you all posting your stuff? I mean, I see you do. I'm mainly on Facebook, of course, as you know. I'm more of a older dude, so there, of course, I'm going to be there. Instagram as well. I don't do the TikTok. I tried. I just got irritated with it.
I'm not a fan.
It's just another thing to take care of. But in your line of work, possibly
everything.
I would assume YouTube and all that stuff, right?
Yeah. So you can basically listen to the full episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Podbean, which is like the main host or whatever, and then it kind of distributes to a few others by itself from there because like some of these companies own each other. It's weird, but like the main ones are like Spotify and Apple. I added you to Amazon.
I complained, so I got Amazon.
So you could ask Amazon to play it for him. Plays the wrong thing half the time because Amazon.
Yeah. If you're wondering, there is a carbon monoxide podcast, which really pisses me off when I try and tell my Alexa to play the Monoxide podcast. Yeah.
Plays that one.
And then I post highlights on on the standard platforms, so Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and there's another one. YouTube Shorts is kicking off pretty good for me. So I should be getting monetized on YouTube tomorrow, actually, which is exciting.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. My kids watch a shit ton of YouTube. I have this tracker app that shows me how much time they spend on stuff.
It's scary, isn't it?
It's like, jeez, dude, you got to chill. That's part me as a parent needing to, to talk about.
Yeah. Sometimes I have to make them just put Netflix on. I was like, if you're going to do, like, go watch Netflix. I know it sounds dumb, but I walk in and watch some of the shit that they're watching. I'm like, this is
YouTube Shorts, right?
Yeah, or shorts or just even long form stuff. It's like a bunch of kids probably in their 20s run around just doing stupid shit and making noises. And I'm like, why do you like this?
How old are you kids?
They range from 13 down to 7.
So you probably remember Ryan's toy reviews.
Yeah, yep, yeah.
Fuck that freaking dude. Welcome to Ryan's toy reviews.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Cost you so much money.
Oh no, not
No?
annoyance. A
Oh,
little bit of money.
yeah.
They'd ask me that shit, but it's like they would sit there and watch this doofus, this kid. I mean, I feel bad because he's a kid, right? But it's just like
You would just hear it in the background. It's kind of like when you would listen to like the old days of listening to annoying TV shows in the background, right?
That
kind of
worse. You watch it and you're just like, this little shit's just opening up a toy, and he's playing with it while his parents are just like being obnoxious as well. And now they're multi-millionaires because this kid was just good for them. Like, not pissed about that, but it's like, stop watching this fucker.
Watch something else.
Watch something else, because now all you're gonna want to do is just buy these damn toys. Like,
Watch Scooby
I
Doo.
believe in capitalism, but yay capitalism. That's what that is, you know. I wholeheartedly believe in it, you know, to most extents. But that kind of stuff is obnoxious. I don't know what the hell they're watching now. I mean, I do kind of look at some of it, you know. But
Well, right now it's this Unspeakable is what he's been watching, and they just run around and do stupid shit. Well, it got to be where he was pranking us at the house, you know, doing his prank stuff.
oh, that's
then he
huge
was
now, right?
Yeah, well, then he was doing it at school, and he got in trouble, so we were like, okay, no more of that crap.
Dial that down there,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Yep. Kids are super easy to influence. I remember even as like a 5-year-old, some things I picked up from TV shows, and I got my ass reminded of it.
Yeah.
I will catch him watching some car videos though every now and again,
Oh, yeah.
and that's like unprompted by me. He'll be like,
So-
"Dude, you know this?" And I was like, "Yeah."
What you got to do is start, like, when they're gone, what you got to do is, like, flip through videos that you want them to watch.
Yeah.
So their algorithm gets all fucked up.
Oh, there you go.
And make them watch, like, a bunch of, like, just go to, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson or, like, science stuff or car-based stuff or whatever the hell it may be. Just whatever. Flip through a whole bunch of that stuff, and then eventually their algorithm will force them to start watching that, and then they'll get interested in it.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
That's kind of what I do to myself purposely too with
Yeah.
with YouTube, and sometimes I'll even fall asleep with my phone running on a YouTube video. So sometimes I'll even wake up to like a Jocko podcast. Sure, it's the funniest thing ever, dude. It's
Well,
like,
it makes sense. You talk about them, you do some of the energy drink stuff, and like you know.
I'm not doing a ton of supplements right now though. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to eat as clean as possible, but I do have some of those like shakes and stuff. But I'm not throwing down everything.
Well, you shouldn't. You should eat your nutrition.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like that's the biggest thing.
It's really helped me out like cognitively. I've been sharper.
Good.
And then switching to like normal caffeine or whatever. I could go on a whole health tangent. or
Have
whatever,
you tried the Kill Cliffs yet?
I don't know if I have.
Yeah,
I've heard they're good.
Yeah.
Isn't Rogan sponsored by them?
Yeah, he like owns it, or is it?
He's-
Yeah,
he did a collaboration with them.
Yeah,
yeah. So I have a chiropractor. Another plug here.
Go for it.
I think I might have even told you about him. His name's
Potentially.
Dr. Ross Chirosport. He's right down the fucking road from here.
Really?
Like,
Okay.
I actually tried to get in with him today, but he's like, I'm fully booked. One of the smartest dudes as far as like biomechanics and muscular physiology, blah blah blah, and nutrition and all that stuff I've ever met. He's a chiropractor by trade, but I mean, he does like cupping, needling, scraping, blah blah blah, body recomposition, rehab, you know, and of course chiropractic. Being a powerlifter and a trainer, I obviously I know many people that need that kind of services, but he turned me on to Killcliff, and he's got a shit ton of them over there. But I recently saw them at, I think it was, of all places, I think it was like a Walmart. Which I never go to Walmart, but I was at a Walmart for some weird reason. I think it gets
They got
some
some
like,
good stuff there.
Hispanic stuff, especially like some of the ethnic stuff. Like the Walmart in Maple Grove, especially, has a really good Hispanic selection of certain items. So like Taco Tuesday stuff, I go there, and then they have some other stuff too that is exclusive to go there for. But anyway, they had Killcliff there, so I sent them a whole bunch of pictures of these other Killcliffs that I've seen, but they only have 25 milligrams of caffeine,
Interesting. Okay.
and they satiate that carbonation, right? I need that carbonation in a deficit, especially in a calorie deficit. I need something else.
Did you say it's only 25 milligrams?
25 milligrams of caffeine.
Really? Okay, that's sustainable.
You could drink 4 a day and be totally fine.
Does it have I guess what does it have in there? Does it have like a bunch of like nootropics or something? Or
There's
what?
more nootropic style stuff. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it has
Let's
off
check it
the
out.
top of my head,
Okay.
but highly suggest looking into it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's comparable to the other ones, and I mean, it's also, owned and operated. Partially owned and operated. It's something to do with some sort of military foundation as well. So I mean,
Okay.
there is that connection as well. That's important to me. Of course, it is. But my favorite energy drinks, are like Red Con. A little bit lower of the caffeine, 200 milligrams caffeine, but also nootropics. I like the Alpha GPC and the CoQ10 and certain things. I like the Rain white gummy bear.
Rain has been great. That's what I've been drinking.
I'm
Yeah.
addicted to the white gummy bear.
I don't even seen that. So where? What can I get at Quick Trip? That's good. The Rain, but they have like 2 flavors of Rain ever.
Yeah,
in there.
they got like this the purplish one.
The purple one is the one I like.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what I really hate is most of these big places, they just have like all Monster.
Yeah,
Which
I know.
just sucks.
I know. Or Red Bull. I hate
Yeah,
Red Bull.
I like my sugar-free Red Bull, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have. It's just not as.
It doesn't have everything else.
Yeah.
It's just kind of.
I'm
like a
sure it's
general-
full of
Yeah.
junk, right? It's like
It's
basically
fine.
a few steps from antifreeze.
Quite that, but yeah,
Yeah.
It's not the best, They've obviously done well for themselves because people are addicted to that. I was for a while. I talked to our boy Brian May. You want to get him to do anything? Bring him a case of sugar-free Red Bull SFR-B. That's the way for him.
Yeah.
Bring him that, and he'll do anything for you, within reason, of course. But Quick Trip. I mean, Celsius is really good. You never had
I
Celsius.
do like the Celsius ones,
some
yeah. And they have
Celsius has some good
1,000
stuff.
flavors to
They
choose from.
do, yeah. They're good. Lower caffeine content there as well. I actually really like the Alani's.
Okay.
My dad and my brother are on a kick right now.
Yeah, Alani's good. Some of their flavors are hit or miss.
That's what I've heard.
I really like their Witch's Brew one.
Okay, I did not like the fruity pebble one.
Yeah, the slush one is fine. Like the dark purple can is like cosmic dust or some bullshit.
That's what my wife hates about it. She's like, I just want to know what the flavor tastes like. Don't tell me it's cosmic dust
Dumb
or
flavor. Well,
Yeah.
if I told you Witch's Brew, what would you think?
no clue.
Yeah.
Something green.
Something stupid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like a caramel apple. It's fucking amazing. It comes out around Halloween. Go figure.
Yeah.
But it's super good. If I can get it year round, that would be what I would one of the ones
Stock
I would
up.
drink. Yeah. Oh hell yeah, I do. Oh, and then I suck them down. The more they're there, the more
Yeah,
that's
I
true.
consume.
Yeah, when I had cases of Jocko sitting, I'm like, let's do 2 a day.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, that's what happened to Dr. Ross. He had ordered what he thought was like a half a pallet, but he ended up getting like 2 pallets of this shit. So it was like half. Yeah, he got a whole.
Oh, no
bunch
wonder
of-
he's pushing it. No.
Yeah, well, no, he's not pushing it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
He's given me a couple cases here and there. He's like, dude, 'cause I send him clients all the time. He's like, dude, just take some. And last time I was there, I brought him a bunch of meat from my wife's farm, and then he's like, okay, go take some. But he gave me like a real
That's right. I
estate
forget
client.
you guys got meat at your farm too.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
have to talk about that. I need some meat.
out in Buffalo. Yeah, so my wife's family has a farm out there.
Oh, wow.
And they have cows,
Moo.
pigs,
Oink.
horses,
We're just teaching me.
which we
all
don't
the
eat
animals.
those. Yeah. What does a horse say? And then chickens and stuff like that. One of the coolest things is every once in a while we'll get like duck and geese eggs.
Ooh.
You ever had a goose egg? Oh, talking about like friggin' decadent. Like a chicken egg is good.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like local, homegrown, whatever the hell, free range chickens. The yolks are different color. They're not yellow. They're more orange.
Yeah, yep.
Right. Super super dense. Duck eggs get a little bit more intense, but you get the goose eggs, like those big suckers. They're really rich and decadent. Like they make a really
Sounds
good
delicious.
omelet.
I love eggs.
Yeah. I don't like eggs
Oh, really?
by themselves. As like if you like load like scrambled eggs. So my coach has got me on, 3 eggs in the morning with a couple Amy Lou chicken sausages, and then I put some like Truth hot sauce. I can scarf that down. I'm fucking hungry in the morning.
Did you
of
say
course.
truff hot sauce?
Yeah.
Oh, that stuff's the best.
Dude, there's a website.
My kids
that
are obsessed with that.
There's a website that I bought that stuff at for $11 a bottle.
No way, really? Because I'm on Truff. I'm even on the the text thing, so it's like we're running 20% off. Is you got
Yeah.
this shit's expensive.
I bought 15 bottles at $11 a bottle, and I've almost gone through it.
Wow.
This is like 6 months ago that I bought it, but I put that shit on everything, just like Frank's Red Hot. But it's amazing. Have you tried the oils?
I have the truffle oil, just like the oil. They're like basic.
People are
when they
so
serve us.
hungry listening to this right now.
Oh well, you should flash some of my steaks that I make.
What is your food page?
So, I was actually going to talk to you about that because of the algorithm we were talking about. I have multiple different pages because I can flip flop between my pages. At first, like my main page is Minnesota Sold. That's my real estate stuff like that. I'm kind of like trying to branch out and have different pages that fill different niches and stuff like that. So I have Minnesota Sold, which is I'm turning into some personal stuff, some car stuff, but mainly real estate, right? And on that one, I've had to really unfuck the algorithm because most of the time it's just like chicks' asses and stuff like that. It's like, why do you keep showing me this? And most of the time when you have a chick's ass like sitting there, you're going to stare at it for a second, but you're going to make a comment about how dumb they are. But then that fucks the algorithm. They keep showing you because you keep commenting on it. So I've had to like relearn. I had like Yoda. I had to unlearn what I've learned, right? So I had to like, I don't want to see this. Like do the little, I don't want to see this anymore. So my algorithms now is more real estate, car stuff.
Yeah,
which is great.
Fair enough.
Started the food page. For more like just food posts and stuff like that, but now it's kind of morphed into food lifting, and that's so instead of Minnesota Sold, it's Minnesota Gains.
Yep,
I like food, so
perfect.
Go to Minnesota Gains, so you can see me lifting some deadlifts, 700-pound deadlifts or whatever you want to watch, and then eating some food, lightweight baby, and then my car, my Noble, right? So Noble M12 GTO 3R. That's the other one. And what's cool is on my lifting food page, I see lifting and food. Of course, I'm going to see some of those dopey chicks that sit there just like, oh, look at my butt. I'm doing.
Yeah.
Hey, you do that too, bro. I see your butt.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
see that.
I
Oh, look at me.
deadlift. I deadlift. I got to show off this. Work so
hip
hard
thrust?
for this. Huh?
Do you do hip thrusts or no?
I do single leg hip thrusts. So
Single leg? Get the
yeah, I
fuck
do a
outta
lot of
here.
single item accessories. So I'll do a heavy compound first, and then I'll focus on the single stuff to really build that neural connection between that muscle or the mind and that specific muscle. It also weeds out any imbalances.
Yeah, I should really do that more.
Yeah,
I'm imbalanced.
Hey, I'm a certified trainer now, so there's that. So
before we get into like where everybody can find you, we do have Dan's usual 3.
Oh, what's up?
Because we are at 2.5 hours, by the way.
Oh, are we really?
What time is it?
It is 3:19.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's cooking.
Damn.
I think Caleb should be here anytime so we can all grab lunch as well. But
Yeah, I like food. I have this. I can join you.
yeah.
What's up?
All right. So anyway,
Yes.
at the end of every episode, we have to ask our guest 3 questions. No, 1 question. 3 cars. I need you to pick.
You're fired.
Yeah. I need you to pick a. Well, we got you like shoved me onto it, and then it got all sidetracked. Anyway, I need a track car, a show car, and a daily driver. You have an unlimited budget. Swaps are good. Anything you want. What can you think of?
Well, I have always wanted a Sesto Elemento. It's a Lamborghini Gallardo, but so the name's Sesto Elemento. And this is on.
Sounds like a spell from Harry Potter.
It sounds like it, but it's I think it's a. Don't quote me. Italian Sesto Elemento. I don't know. It's
Sounds German.
5th element for which is carbon. So it's all carbon. So if you look on Top Gear, what is it? James May, not James May, but who's the little Weasley?
Hammond.
Hammond. He does like this nice. The Sesto Elemento. It means carbon. Because blah blah blah. Look it up. Add it to the podcast. People know what the fuck I'm talking about, so I don't just sound like an idiot. And I would send it to UGR or Nth Moto or something like that, because this is, it's a stupidly lightweight track only Gallardo, and then you throw 1,000 to 2,000 horsepower in this fucking thing, it would be bananas bonkers. We're just talking like ludicrous, stupid. So that would be my track car. Show car? Well, I don't know, man. There's so many cool cars. I'd have to go with something like wild, crazy, exotic, and probably like a Jesco, something like that. Just something bonkers.
When I say Jessica, you committed to that?
Not really. No. Like it's off the cuff. Would I go wild and crazy and modify something? I could, I definitely could. I mean, there's some cool things that you could do, you could do out there. But I think that Sesto Elemento would ultimately be a show car as well.
Yeah.
So would you just get a second one of those, or would you?
I'd fucking 4 of them, dude. I'd daily drive one if I could. No. But yeah, I mean, I would probably say, I would just blanket it. I'm just gonna blanket and say I'd probably go with a Koenigsegg of some sort, because they're just works of art. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to drive it too much. I'd take it to shows. I'd drive it to a show and stuff like that, but I wouldn't be tracking it. It's more of a work of art, right? The Koenigsegg, I think it is. And then a daily driver. I would want something functional, and if money was no object, I wouldn't give 2 hoots about gas mileage, right? I have really been horny for that new Cadillac Escalade V.
Oh.
Really,
that would be a good daily
sucker. Yeah, the long version too. I mean, you pull some stuff, you could tune it. Sounds good, looks good, wheels on it. I mean, other than that, like what else would you want to get? Maybe the Aston Martin 707. I mean, a fast, cool looking SUV. That'd be fun.
The V interior. I got to sit in one.
I'm gonna go back and say, show car, that Aston Martin Vulcan, but that's a track car. Anyways,
it could be a track car and a show car.
Was it the Vulcan?
The Vulcan's the one that has the weird headlights on the front that looks like a classic, like 70s car almost. I think that's the Vulcan.
Maybe it's the Valkyrie.
Or no. I'm getting the Vulcan confused, because they got the Vulcan, the Valkyrie, and then they had that other one.
One of those wild and crazy ones. I don't know. It'd be something along those lines, man. I can't. You put me on the spot. I'm starting to blush. I don't know.
So you're just gonna stick with the Koenigsegg?
Yeah, let's stay with Koenigsegg. There's so many cool cars out there. You've answered this question for sure. I want to hear your answers now.
I think my last updated one was a.
Oh, so you get to update it every single answer. See, I can't.
We don't do it every single episode.
I can't amend. Anyway,
no, well, so I think my first time around was I had a Torino, Ford Torino was my show car, and then I had a.
That's cool.
Can't remember what my track car was.
Ooh.
I don't remember. Well, if I could just right off the top of my head right now, I would do like there's the Shelby new diesel now. They have a Power Stroke F250 Shelby Baja. I do that as my daily because I gotta have a truck because I tow trailers and do shit.
Yeah.
I would do a current gen Ford GT as a track car, and then I don't know what I'd do for a show car.
We said Ford Torino or something like that.
I think something in the like from the 60s and 70s. Like it's just a cool old muscle car.
Did you say Continental?
Oh yeah, I did. It was 69 Continental suicide doors.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would love to do a resto mod. Like,
yeah, put a Coyote in it for sure.
Oh, do something like that. Yeah,
Yep.
do some sort of. I think let's amend the show car stuff. We'll do some sort of like 60s style, fully resto modded interior. It could be a Porsche, even like kind of like with the Singers or those Singers. Those are art too.
Oh, is this the commitment that we're gonna get?
Oh man, yeah, we're gonna.
It's hard to put a car guy on the spot and have him pick 3 cars. It is
man.
horrible.
Now you're getting the juices turning and burning some calories, starting to sweat here. Just kidding, I'm always sweating. Yeah. I mean, I've always been really partial to some of those Camaros. I wouldn't do a Camaro, but those Camaros that have like the cool like an inside wheels that have the big lip and stuff like that, big power, and the inside are like nice and like updated, modern, the resto mod style. Just just so cool. Nova SS, but with like a better interior or stuff like that. Singer Porsche. Yeah. I'm going.
Went on a small GM tangent and then right back to a Singer.
Yeah. I mean, then I just started thinking about like it's a Porsche. And it would still be fun to drive. Like I don't know how much of a resto mod I'd want to drive. Like like Kevin Hart had a resto mod and he's just a dude.
That was a weird incident though when he broke his back.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know the whole instances. I'm just like,
it was like 1,000 horsepower. What was it, Camaro or whatever, built by Speedcore. It was it was a weird one.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think like the Singers are just art. I mean, if you've seen one in person, I know the Mola Network. They have a couple guys or a guy or two that owns at least one Singer, and they're pretty. I like the RWBs,
but the Singer's unmatched when it comes to quality.
It's not the same. It's so smooth looking. The exterior, like just the lines are just like they still have that antique, eclectic look to it, and not just like that overblown bubble butt. I mean, I like a bubble butt like any guy does, but
according to your Facebook page, for sure.
yes. Well, you ever seen that picture of me in the Bugatti Chiron?
You're welcome, by the way.
Yeah, that was you took that picture. Yeah. So I have a modeling picture with some in front of an airplane, a jet of some sort, and the red Bugatti Chiron, and then me just doing this number. So I'll have to show it to you. It's a funny picture. You can flash it up there. People can see my
Got a
butt
big
then.
dumpy.
Yeah. Dump truck. But yes, we're doing a Singer. We're doing a Sesto Elemento sent to oblivion with horsepower by Nth Moto, because fuck you, GR. Because I like Aaron. And then what was the third one? CTS, or the Cadillac.
The Cadillac V.
The Cadillac V. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, the Aston 707.
You can change it next time.
All right, next time. Anyway, carry on.
Well, sweet. On that note, then, you've kind of already listed off where people can find you. So Minnesota Sold for house stuff. Buy a fucking house. Minnesota Gains if you like lifting and food. The food especially. This is the guide for food recommendations, which we will ask you because Caleb is currently on his way, and we will figure out what we're going to grab, and you're welcome to join.
Sure.
Have you been to Flynn's in Richfield?
I have.
It's really good.
Good stuff.
I started going there. Their hot dog is fucking amazing. Okay, I'm a sidetrack. But anyways, anywhere else where people can find you.
Yeah, well, I mean, Noble M12 GTO 3R. That's my Noble's page. I don't post as much there. It depends on the season. I'll create content based off of the season sometimes. And I guess it depends on what it's about. If you just want to message me on Facebook or whatever. I actually have a couple profiles. I do one with just Jeff Storms. It's mainly family and more close friends and stuff like that. Then I have Jeffrey Storms, which and I don't know if you're supposed to have two Facebooks or whatever, but I do.
Don't worry about it.
The other one is mainly like memes and real estate and just like general posts, and it's just networking bullshit.
Yeah.
Like if I wasn't a realtor, man, I probably wouldn't have much social media. I wouldn't give two shits. I did look at like some of my stuff before I was a realtor. Those memories that pop up on Facebook. You're like, yeah, I was a doofus.
Every year for me.
Yeah, it gives me the chance to amend that and delete. So, like, yeah, I said that. Oh, yeah, that doesn't align with how I think now. Or like political stuff. I just don't care about politics. I mean, I do, but I don't, right? So,
Yeah.
But yeah, people can just message me on Facebook, Instagram. If people want to know anything about buying a house, like advice is free. Obviously, I appreciate the people that understand that my time is valuable. At least I think it is. It is to me. But I also appreciate loyalty and honesty. For example, you know Tian over at Tint Pros.
Yeah.
He's got a relative that's a realtor, but I appreciate him because he understands business and he understands people's time. He hit me up. He was in the process of buying a house and stuff like that. He's actually one of my neighbors now. He's in the process of buying a house, but he wanted my opinion, my advice. And I knew that he had a realtor. Well, I didn't know per se, but I was like, I kind of assumed. But he led off with like, just letting you know. And I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I will still give you advice, even if you're like, your brother's mom's nephew, cousin, whatever.
Just be forthcoming about it. Like, hey, I might not work with you, but what's your thoughts?
Ultimately, if I can work with you, that's how I make money. It's not a small chunk of change. So if somebody comes out and they dangle a carrot like, oh yeah, I'm going to be buying a house, and all of a sudden, like I give them advice, and then they go with somebody else, that sucks. Like it's a $5, $10, $15, sometimes $20,000 paycheck. It's like, yeah, I'm going to dangle this carrot for you. Nope. So just be forthcoming with me if you need any advice. But food, man, I'll talk food all day. If people want to know how to make a steak, like you look on my Instagram, you'll see all the steaks and stuff like that. Or lifting. You want to know about powerlifting? It's the Minnesota Games.
We didn't get too much into it, but I have learned a lot from you. I mean, I before I hurt my hamstring, I was up to 3 plates going on 4 deadlifting. Like I was getting so much stronger so quick.
Yeah, you were kind of a soupy noodle at first.
Dude, well, I still kind of am. I'm still a little guy, but
well, I mean, like you were just wobbly. Like you take a noodle out of a piece of soup or a thing of soup, and that's kind of what you were. Just kind of like gangly.
Yeah, I'm a thick rigatoni now.
Now you're a little more dense. You're a little more dense now. You're still looking good, by the way.
Yeah, not too shabby. I'm cutting down a little bit. Hey, we'll get into me later. I promise. Well, find me on Grindr. But anyways, Dan, where can people find you?
Vera, I'm not on Grindr.
You can find us at Gunna Garage with 2 N's. We got a little bit of snowmobile stuff there for you for a brief moment when it snowed.
This year must have been kind of horrible for that. Huh?
Yeah, the snowmobiling was a bust this year.
Did you get out last week or whatever?
Yeah. So when we got all that snow, we went up to our cabin up north and just rode around in the yard.
Oh, yeah.
The trails never opened up or anything like that, but I got the kids out, got them ripping around a little bit,
Still
and
got 2
put
around.
my 8-year-old son on my 200 horsepower turbo snowmobile and let him ride around the yard a little bit.
So there we'll swap keys with that. We'll Noble in the 200 horsepower.
Sounds good, man.
There we go.
I'm actually curious, before we sign off here, for all 3 people that are left listening, would you guys ever swap keys the GT500 on the Noble?
I'll swap keys with anybody.
Yeah, because you've never driven a GT500, have you?
I've driven Mustangs, but not a GT500
Yeah,
specifically.
it's definitely different.
What year?
It's a different pedigree of Mustang, you know.
It's still a Ford.
Yeah.
Right? What year?
2021.
Oh, yeah. I haven't driven one of those. I've driven a 2013, the older.
Oh yeah, that I
manuals.
want one of those. My wife has a 13
Uh-oh.
GT right now. I'm trying to get her to join the Shelby Club.
Yeah.
I want a 13, 14, but they don't give those away right now either.
I had a buddy. I think he sold it. He bought a Gen 4 Viper, a green one. It's fucking pretty. And he had a red one with racing stripes. And it was his baby.
They're the last of the for the Shelby's the raw just fire breathing monster that you have to actually have driver skill to drive. This thing is like a refined gentleman now. This GT500,
Sure.
With the DCT and everything, it kind of drives for you. But
That's all right.
Yeah.
Fun.
Same DCT as a
Absolutely.
458.
Oh.
And
There
the
you go.
AMG GTR. So, on that note, because this conversation is definitely gonna continue, but this is super fun.
You're gonna see this big trail off the.
yeah.
Definitely a lot better than our first ever podcast back in the Whiplash days. So
Should
this
have
is
brought
really
the dog
cool.
in though.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we're gonna be wrapping up here at 2 hours 40 something minutes. That's
One of your longer ones.
my longest one I want to say was Caleb, our last episode. He did it in 3 hours 20. Before that was Paul Rohde, and we could obviously keep going.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I feel my stomach gurgling.
You can say you're shutting me down here. That's
I know we got to shut down the production. Otherwise, I'm gonna start talking about snowmobiling and fucking Fords again. But on that note, if you guys have made it this far, you should know where you're at. Monoxide. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter. This hat. Actually, when I drop this episode, it's gonna be the last day of getting the Monoxide hat. Not this hat, but nonetheless, be sure to check out all our sponsors, all that fun stuff. Follow Jeff on all his pages, food stuff. I'm really hungry. Dan, thanks for existing, and we'll see y'all next time.